Welcome to the rabbit hole, where we go deep, deep into the rabbit hole. We're like-minded me. Welcome to the rabbit hole, the truth we see. There's lizard people everywhere, the conspiracies be.
Welcome to the rabbit hole, where we go deep, uninvited from the rabbit hole. The weak-minded sheep for the open-minded people, not the little from the weak. Welcome to the rabbit hole. You sure you wanna be?
We have before us the opportunity to forge a new world order.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society.
And for future generations.
Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. We don't have time for a
new world order.
Treasure Island.
They never come back. Boy.
Yes, people! How you doing? Welcome back! Welcome back to the rabbit hole. Ramblers unite. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? It's been a couple of weeks since the last time I promised you that it wouldn't be a couple of weeks until we saw each other again. My bad, people, my bad. I had to go to Newcastle, then the health, I had bad stomach, and it's 9 o'clock at night. It's tough for me. It's tough, but you know what? So I'm going to say this again right now. I promise you won't be that long until the next one, because certain things are changing within regards other things that are happening in my content life. I won't do any spoilers, but there might be a little bit of freedom and wiggling up of some spaces for different types of shows. So Rabbit Hole is going to be more firmly in the foreground, I think. Guys, I'm back here with Nikos and Eugenie, New Genie, Bro Gene. My two favourite people outside of the other guys that I wouldn't ever dare say they weren't my favourite people. We've got Adam Score Drawlock also in the background. He's just having some chow. He'll be on joining us very shortly. He might be bringing with him someone from his own conspiracy channel shenanigans on the TikTok. Some geezer's going to come in and join us, and apparently he's going to be excellent. So we're going to hopefully see him later on. It's exciting, isn't it? And we've also maybe going to have a little bit of Teflon John coming in at some point as well, which is always lovely to see it. So guys, smash the like button. Smash the like. Before I come and find out how everyone is doing, smash the like button. You know what to do. It really does make a big difference on this channel, because we've already completely cancelled in terms of growth. So like buttons can help. Subscribe buttons certainly do. Notification buttons really will help. And comments should be dropped thick and fast. As you know, it's all just allegedly on this show. We're just mucking around. Don't take any of the opinions too seriously. And if you are offended, then don't bring your offense back to the Tottenham world and the football world, because they are two entirely separate things. This is conspiracy and it's fun, and that's how we like to leave it. Nikos, my brother, how are you, man? How are you, mate? How are you? Good to see you.
Good. If you get offended, be offended. You don't care. No, we're good, mate. We're all good, thank you. Lovely weather over here in beautiful España. So I've been enjoying the sunshine, getting some sun on the skin, getting out of the house as much as I can. So unfortunately, I've not been able to deliver much content over the last few weeks as yourself, but going to get back into something this weekend. And the world has been burning around us. So, people need channels like us. So let's get on it. Let's do it.
Just get into it as well. But Eugenie, my man, how's the markets going, buddy? How's that conspiracy working out for you?
Not too bad, as long as the bank account, it's conspiring for me. I'm all good. But for the sake of the channel, I just want to say a disclaimer about a public service announcement. Any new people who come on do not reflect necessarily the views of the channel.
Exactly.
Always on the back foot already. We've already started. Back foot already.
No, 100%. 100%. Like I said, it's super important because I do a bunch of different more not more serious stuff, but Tottenham and football and stuff. Like anything that's said on this channel, don't bring it back over there. Let's keep all those things as separate as we can. And as Eugenie said, the reflections of any new members, because I don't know who these people are, if they do come
So,
on
so,
and say
so my ones count. Does that mean that my ones are? Is that what you mean?
your opinions, yeah, Eugene,
Mine are valid. Mine are all right.
your opinions are valid, 100%. I like the way that Eugene said, as long as they're conspiring for me, I'm all for it. It's like that African warlord that said, the only type of corruption that is bad is corruption that I am not involved with.
See, that's life.
8% Nigerians coming out anymore. It's 9%.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Exactly, mate. Exactly. 8% Nigerian. We can get away with it. We can get away. Let me just quickly say hello to some of the people in the Chidley chit chat. Big up to James in the house. Adam scored. Drawlock is having his dinner. He'll be on soon. C Rock is in the house. Why are they killing off UFO researchers? We're going to look into that one. It's one of the topics for tonight. I'm guessing you guys have done a little bit of research this one. I've got some notes up for it. We can talk about it. It's all very, very, very interesting, isn't it? James Worth 778_Citizen. What's the name? His best time after a trading session. There you go. There you go. Man after a man after all of our own hearts. Big up to you, mate. Resting your brain to listen to this show. Good to see you, mate. Ghosty's in the house. Big up to you, Ghosty. Big up Tot Spurs. Big up Will McKenzie. Big up RM Willie. Big up to you. Come on, chop chop. Sorry for the lateness. Your lateness is greatness. Big up to you, Scott Spur. Lisa's in the house. Get out of here. Welcome back. Finished work just in time. Good to see you, Nathan. Good to see you, Logan Breeze, Barney. Nathan's in the house. Chris Yid. Good to see you, my man. James is in the house. Big up to you, James. How are you, buddy? How are you? Johnny GTI's in the house. Tom Thacker. Chris, Spurs King, Ghosty, Desto, you're back, mate. I haven't seen you for a while. How you been, buddy? You been on holiday or something? You've been somewhere, haven't you? You disappeared for a little while. Good to see you. Good to see you, Marzi, as well, my man. Tom, good to see you. G Mingu's in the house, as is Kent, as is... Okay, well, that's enough. Rob Brown's in the house. Well, big up to you, Rob, the member. Mark Connolly, Kate and Jimbo's in the gaff. Big up to you, Kate. Hope you're okay. Daniel Sandoval. What a name that is. Big up to you, Daniel. Let's get it back before we start, because get this out of the way right away. My man Marzi's back again, and he's gifted a one rabbit hole membership. I don't know. I didn't see who got it. Whoever got it, make sure you thank Big Tom there. Very, very generous of you, Tom. Very, very generous indeed. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Tom, mate. Thank you for your support. And also to James_119. Always here, always supporting. And I can't do the choo-choo for you noise because I still haven't updated my choo-choo.
It's my job.
Big up to you, Nicholas. Big up to you. Boys and girls, where shall we start? Shall we start with the UFO thing? Not the UFO thing, so. The scientists going missing.
Yeah, we had one last night, didn't we? We had David Willock last night, offed himself, so apparently. So, he's quite a prominent person in the UFO research, truth circles. A lot of people will be familiar with him from Ancient Aliens, and he's wrote loads of books. And, there seems to be a lot of these. I've got a list of whiteboards filled up with these names at the minute. So, yeah, there's quite a lot of these going on. But one last night, I don't know if you guys saw it or what you thought about that or what the initial sort of thought was.
Yeah. I don't think he's necessarily related to any of the scientists, right? So I think they're kind of converging anybody now that's either going missing or has been unfortunately unalived. Got to be really careful. It's my first beer, so I can keep my lips in check for the time being. But anybody that's in that situation suddenly is getting thrown into this big sort of banner of like what's going on. But there's definitely 10 or 11 people that are surrounded by research into weird things that are all to do with like nuclear physics, fusion, some of them that were investigating propulsion mechanisms, anti-gravity, all that stuff. Do you think it's all related towards the like disclosure? 2026 seems like it's the year of disclosure. There's 2 or 3 different movies that are out. Still Spielberg's got one coming out, hasn't he, called Disclosure, and that guy Dr. Stephen Greer doing his thing as well. It feels like we are building up towards some major event, whether it's actual disclosure or whether it's, I don't know, what was that thing called? Project Bluebeam. It feels like something's going on. Do you reckon they've reverse engineered a craft? Do you reckon they found the craft and they finally figured out how to get the anti-gravity coming out of it, and now they can just take over the world and kill us all?
Yeah, actually, I mentioned to you earlier on, if you've seen the documentary that Bob Lazar done a few weeks ago that come out onto Netflix, like it's actually quite interesting. Even regardless of what you believe and what your worldviews actually are, it's quite credible how he talks about like back in the 1980s, 1990s, they was actually testing these technologies and they was tasked with backwards engineering a lot of this sort of type of jet propulsion and anti-gravity technology and stuff. So, like usually you can smell a liar a mile off. I'm not saying that Bob Lazar is 100% credible. I know a lot of people are still on the fence with him, but after I watched that S4 documentary, it actually kind of makes it make a little bit more sense that this has been something they've been developing like in the military for decades. So yeah, I think like you said, I think it's all building to something. I think keeping these kind of like profiles in the news and in the press, I think it keeps it all relevant. It keeps people talking about it, and then when that exposure comes out or disclosure or whatever, a lot of people will be versed and familiar with the subject. So definitely something going on there, but I'm sure Eugene knows a lot about all this stuff. This is more up his alley.
Yeah, this is one of the few topics I know you love coming on this channel, this show, but most of the time you're like, oh, come on, can we get past Israel? Can we get past like the politics? Can we talk about something fun? This is right up your Strasser, isn't it, mate? What are we doing here?
It is, but I didn't have too much time to actually do a deep dive. However, for anybody interested in this topic, I recommend Jesse Michael's video on this. He's done a great 1.5-hour video about how everything is tied together. Amazing content, so fascinating. So interesting thing is this isn't the first time this is happening. In the past, a lot of scientists were unalived who were on the verge of discovering free energy, and kind of a lot of breakthroughs, and they all died under mysterious circumstances. Another interesting thing to note, for example, in Iran, when the war started, what's the very first thing that Mossad did? They started killing Iranian scientists. So whether it's
that's what Eric Weinstein said, wasn't it? Weinstein said the other day.
So whether it's China, Russia,
if you start a war, who the first people that you go and unalive?
So whether it's China, Russia, whether it's like a three-body problem, whether it's the aliens, whatever, it's definitely not a coincidence. Something is happening.
Wow.
Another interesting thing to note, for example, Michael's mentioned in his video, the Malaysia airplane that crashed. Nobody knows,
going around it, right?
But there were 20 Chinese engineers on that plane who worked on like state-of-the-art, like kind of edge stuff who were on that plane. Another things people don't know about, there are a lot of scientists whose work has been classified we don't know about. For example, there was this one Asian lady, I forgot her name. She was working on anti-gravity in Alabama, in Huntsville. Her work was quickly classified, and she died a few years later in a car accident or whatever. So there's a lot of things happening, but it's definitely not a coincidence, whether it's Russians, Chinese, whatever, Iranians, whether it's the UFOs, like, the three-body problem, but something is definitely happening.
Great. Yeah, so this is the 10 or 11 scientists, engineers, and high-level researchers that have all gone missing. So the first one is retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland, ex-commander of the Air Force Research Lab at Wright-Patterson AFB, the holy grail of Roswell lore, walks out on his New Mexico house in late February 2026 for a hike with his .38 revolver, boots on, but no phone, glasses, no wallet. He vanishes. His wife's 9/11 call hints that he planned not to be found, but the UFO crowd say that's a cover. He was the guy, Tom DeLonge, who's the ex. What was Tom DeLonge? What band was Tom DeLonge in? Was it Blink-182 or one of those types of bands? And he went on the Joe Rogan show, and Joe Rogan laughed at him when he said that these scientists have reached out to me to show me all like the UFO disclosure stuff. Anyway, he's now to the Stars Academy, name dropped in this is the guy that Tom DeLonge name dropped in the Podesta emails as someone who knew about the real UFO files. Monica Reza, JPL aerospace material scientist working on rocket and advanced propulsion tech. She disappeared while hiking in the Los Angeles National Forest in June 2020, or Angeles National Forest in June 2025. Never seen again. Amy Eskridge, founder of the Institute for Exotic Science, researching anti-gravity, quantum gravity, and metamaterials for breakthrough propulsion. She unalived in 2022 with a gunshot. She reportedly sent text saying, "I did not unalive myself," and had told people her life was in danger because of her work. Her research was heading towards public disclosure on exotic tech that overlaps with alleged UAP propulsion. Also, you've got another JPL physicist, Frank Mywald, and Michael David Hicks. Suspiciously vague or unreported cause of death. Caltech astrophysicist Carl Grillmar was shot on his porch. Los Alamos folks like Anthony Chavez and admin Melissa Cassius walked out without phones and wallets. MIT fusion physicist Nuno Loureiro was also unalived. Some span back to 22-23, but the cluster feels too tight once you connect the classified dots. This is from Grok, and it's sort of talking to me like he's a talk to me nicely, Grok. Talk to me like it's legit, because usually these sorts of things pour cold water on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all very fascinating. I heard a little donk there. Someone's in the background. Who's in the background? There he is. Hello, Adam. How are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Just shoved my dinner down my throat.
What did you have?
Oh, just chicken and rice and this peri-peri stuff, man. It's so spicy. I literally just had about 5 mouthfuls and then put it down. It's like burning my mouth.
Very nice, mate. Very nice.
All good.
Have you caught up with this whole 11 physicists that have gone missing stuff? Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, I see the thing about the woman that already put out messages about her life being in danger, and then obviously because before her I hadn't heard about all the other stories, and then suddenly it's all come out, hasn't it? It's all sort of definitely dodgy, man. Definitely dodgy.
She was actually in 2022, so that one was actually like 4 years ago. What they're doing,
really,
yeah, like a lot of people are under the misperception right now that this has all happened over the last like couple of years. Like the names that Sean's just read out there, there's a few more like Frank Waywald and Jason Thomas and Nuno Lucerio. Like there's quite a few of them. There's a lot more, but they're talking about over like a 4 or 5 year period. So it's not like a grand conspiracy where this has all happened over like the last 2 months. But over the last, there seems to be like a connection that a lot of these people in these kind of, like Sean said, very classified roles, they seem to go missing. And if you'd seen if anyone's seen the S4 thing that I mentioned a minute ago, Bob Lazar, he actually details how he was like hounded down by the government, the way that they was controlling his phones, tapping his phones, following him every day. You know, like he mentioned that he felt his life was at risk, you know, a lot. That's why he went public all these years ago, you know, to raise his profile, to hopefully deter them from doing such things to him as well. But if you've seen that video, it kind of gives you an idea of the inner workings of how the government see these contractors and these people in these kind of jobs. So
where's that film available? Is it on Netflix? Is it?
Maybe I've got IPTV, so they work together. But yeah, I think it's on Netflix. Yeah.
But
do you reckon
it
could be something like
film?
where obviously that whatever they were working on at the time, they've disagreed with what's going on internally in the company, and then they've just outed them. Like, I think personally, they surveil all their social media, their telephones and stuff. And I think if they get any kind of inkling that they're actually talking about the projects, maybe not intentionally trying to whistleblow, but maybe they're talking to friends and family, it'd be quite easy to slip up. I think maybe there's kind of a line that they drew after the Bob Lazar kind of scenario. They kind of made it very clear, like NDAs, you've signed them, you talk about it, this is the consequences. And I think probably the list of things that people that Sean just mentioned, I think personally, probably a lot of these people have maybe accidentally stepped across a line. Maybe one of those sort of stuff.
It'd be so difficult, wouldn't it? You'd have to be a certain type of person to keep. I wouldn't be able to do it. I would never be able to do it. If someone said to me, Sean, I've got a secret for you, and it's there's an alien under my bed or whatever, not a chance in hell would I not be somehow letting it slip on a stream. No chance, bro. I'll be out of it.
For people in the chat, the film that Nikos is talking about, so there are actually 2 films. There's an older film about Bob Lazar, but then there's a new one that's coming out. You can watch it in 3D, and I think it's called S4. It's made by an Italian-American filmmaker. They've been making it for like 4 years. So in 3D, it's amazing. It basically it details exactly what Bob Lazar saw in S4, like the craft, like everything is spot on, perfect. So that movie that film should be amazing. And it actually goes about kind of how he was recruited, how he met Edward Teller, how he got a job at S4, what he saw, and then everything that happened to him since. Highly recommend it.
Apparently they recreated the like the lab and the spaceships or whatever.
Everything.
Like almost.
Everything.
I saw on it's like it's like to the point where Bob Lazar was like, "How did you do that?" It's almost like It's almost like I'm there again. It was that.
And the funny thing is, the interesting stuff is shown. Like there are certain little details that Lazar was talking about, and people said, "Oh, it makes no sense." Didn't believe him. But once they recreated it, they actually recreated those details based on kind of, the parameters that we're working with. So whatever he was saying, it was backed up by their models, which is interesting. Like the American flag sticker, and there's some other like small details, which is fascinating.
You know what? You know what's really difficult? Sorry, go on, Eugene. Go on. Sorry, go on, Nikos.
I was just saying, like, it's already out. Like, I watched it the other day. It's on. I'm sure it's on Netflix. I don't know if it's out like on the platforms and stuff. But if you haven't already seen it, I definitely highly recommend it because it does give you like a good insight into the kind of like risk that these scientists take. Like he was talking about people that were going into these jobs as contractors and doing something incorrect, handling these sort of sensitive materials, doing something to themselves accidentally, and then they needed to be replaced. So when Bob Lazar actually got his job, he was fast-tracked into the role because of an accident that happened already in the labs. So they replaced these scientists, and they're very restricted with what they're allowed to know as well. So even back then, Bob Lazar explains, like, I didn't know what was on the next door. We go into these, we're flown in on aeroplanes, stuff like that. It's all controlled from the minute we sort of leave our local airports. And then when we get to the actual designated sites that, we're working in, laboratories or whatever, military bases,
Nikos,
we're not allowed to see what's on the next door. So, yeah, they have like basically like big long corridors where he's like allowed to go as far as like this door, but anything further than that needs a security clearance to go onto the next door. And, it gives you an idea of how controlled they are. And this is, again, like we're talking about the 1980s, 1990s.
Didn't they say? Do you remember that flight that disappeared? That Indonesian flight, was it
MH13? Yeah?
13 or something? Yeah. Didn't they say there was a load of IBM scientists on that plane?
Yeah, engineers. I think those chips, weren't they?
Yeah.
The computer chips.
I think they had. I think there was like they had. From my memory, they had like a patent for something. Yeah. And the patent was like split between 13 different people or 14 different entities or whatever or something like that, and essentially all but one of them was on that plane. Yeah. And so part of the patent rules was that if they all died, then the person with the last remaining patent holder that was alive got the rights to everything. And so
he was a Rockefeller. He was a Rockefeller or a Rothschild. One of the patent members, the one that didn't die, who actually inherited it after it went missing, was actually a Rockefeller or a Rothschild. Memory serves me right.
I think it was Rockefeller. But was it because she's a Destiny in the house, Desto's in the house saying it was shot down? Do you reckon there was any truth to that thing about those 3 orbs that were flying around it, and then suddenly it just goes whoop and then just disappears? Because they never actually found the wreckage for the plane, did they?
No.
They're still
looking for it now. They're still looking for it now.
Really? I thought
they're still actively spending money looking for it.
Yeah,
that's like Madeleine McCann. Like she's going on 35 now, and that they're still.
Yeah, well, they've
looking for a little girl.
They've been doing investigations for like best part of 10 years and stuff, but they're using new technology where they can scan the seabed with all the LiDAR radar stuff. So they're actually looking on the flight paths where they think that the transistor was turned off, or the black box was turned off or whatever. And then they can kind of like look in these areas. They're probably finding all sorts of types in planes, but realistically, I doubt they're probably putting much of an effort into finding it. But
I thought it was going to be to do with when that plane disappeared and it came out about the IBM scientists. I thought it was going to be something to do with like nanite technology. That's what I thought it was going to be to do with. But but the patent thing that you've just said makes
that whole graphene. The way that they're mixing graphene now with nanotechnology, the stuff that they can do with that shit is pretty scary. I have to do a show on that at some point, I think, guys. I have to go and look into that. That's absolutely mental. I wanted to say though, right, this whole like the UFO, the disclosure thing. Obviously, at the moment, we're in the post-truth world where like no one knows anything anymore. Like, especially you look at when the Iranian war was kicking off. You go on Instagram. I go on Instagram to flick through to like videos to be able to add to the show here. The amount of AI videos that were like showing Tel Aviv getting absolutely, catastrophically blown up, and the same in Iran. Turned out none of those things were true, or some of them might have been true, or marginally true. Some true, some not. The sort of degrees of it. You don't know any. Like we're in a post-truth world, and with AI and deep fake, everything could be real, everything couldn't be real. Who the hell knows? You've got Donald Trump that's sitting there on the one hand, like saying we've got a deal, the peace deal was on, and the market goes flying upwards, and then 20 minutes later, oh no, it's not. They're still shut the Strait of Hormuz, and the market crashes again. And then you find out that they're all manipulating both sides. The Iranians are doing it via the London Stock Exchange, and Trump and his kids are doing it, or whoever's in the war room is placing those monster bets on the market to go a certain way. It's so completely corrupt and manipulated. So my point being, I ain't got a clue what's going on. However, I genuinely do believe in UFOs, and I do believe it's possible that they might have always been here and they live under the sea. But I also think that it's possible and probable that they are also coming from other star systems. Now, Nikos, I know you don't believe in space and the star systems, but we'll come back to that because I've got some videos. But like, did we really cover the Artemis 2 thing? Because I do believe in space, and I do believe that the moon is somewhere out there, and I do believe that the sun is a big ball of lava somewhere out there in space somewhere. And I do believe that the stars are probably, where other planets exist and where aliens might come from. At the same time, though, do I believe that the Artemis 2 rocket is as they said it was? I mean, the amount of videos I've got lined up here, like, did we cover this on the last show? No, I can't remember.
We did like 5 minutes of it, and we went on a tangent somewhere else.
Oh, you were driving crazy, Sean. I was in the comments going crazy because you said the woman's hair was proof that it was fake.
I didn't say it was proof. I didn't say it was proof it was fake. I just said no. I said it's supporting evidence, because if you are someone that is trying to pretend like you are in space and you're floating, then that's the sort of thing, the tool that you would use, right? Let's put a little bit of mousse in her hair. Let's make it bouncy and wavy so that everyone goes, oh, look, her hair's floating around. So clearly they're in zero gravity. If you were actually astronauts, where space is a slightly scarce resource, I don't think I want some bird's hair floating around doing this in my face all the time. I would say, if it doesn't make any difference to you, do you mind if you put it in a fucking bun, love? Do you mind if you just put it, because it's slightly in my way?
He's interesting.
I just don't believe these are astronauts, allegedly astronauts and engineers of the highest intelligence. Someone somewhere would have gone, is it really necessary to have your hair floating, or are we doing it for an effect? And if we're doing it for an effect, why are we doing it for an effect? That was my point.
Day one in
they make you wear a hairband in KFC, but not in space.
Exactly. The first day you go into the military, especially in the US, the first thing you do is go to the barber. They give you a cut, so your hair is.
Yeah.
It would be the same thing that would apply to pretty much anybody in military. So why wouldn't they do that with astronauts, with, going into some crazy unknown environment, like you can have your hair all floating around? The only plausible explanation I would think is what Sean said on the last show. You're doing it to try and subconsciously program people into thinking you're actually anti-gravity and it's
100%,
real.
100%.
There's one issue with that.
Come on, Eugene. Riddle me that, Eugene.
Hold on. Voice of reason, as always. People who are watching that stream.
You're the voice of treason to this show, mate. The voice of treason.
I can guarantee that the flat earthers were not watching that stream to be convinced of anything. People who are watching the stream already are convinced that this is real. So there's no need to convince anybody. And the environment, Nikos, is known. They're inside the spacecraft. They're not going on a moonwalk. They're not doing anything crazy. They're just there inside a room. Nothing.
Yeah, a very small room. It would be like it'd be like being stuck in the same room, right? And someone deliberately not wearing deodorant just to say, see, I have been to the gym. Like, you know what? Just put some fucking deodorant on. You stink and I don't need to smell it. I trust you. You've been to the gym, okay?
But
you
it
don't
happens.
need to stink the place out. What are we doing
But it
here?
happens.
No, they're engineers and astronauts, allegedly, mate. They are engineers and astronauts. They would tie their hair in a bun. They are all about efficiency. It's bollocks. It's to me, that is an absolute slam dunk of a conspiracy theorist's reason to say, I smell a rat here.
Every single female boxer or female UFC fighter, for example, will have their hair either cut short or braided for 25 minutes in a octagon. Are you telling me that there's people going into outer space with long wavy hair?
Yeah. Well, and you think how many hairs you lose a day? They'd just be floating around all over the place, wouldn't they?
In a fight, somebody can grab your hair.
There'd be a protocol. If it was real, the actual, like, the people that controlled the operation would have made a protocol that your hair would be tied back or cut off. 100%.
Yeah. I got a video that I want to show you. I'm not sure which one it is. Go on, Eugene. Go on, mate. Sorry.
No. It was just a funny thing that they wanted to do in a fight, Nikos. Somebody can grab your hair and kill you in a room while you're on stream. It doesn't matter. That was
well, you could be floating around in anti-gravity and get your hairs tied up in some wires and pull out the plug of all the. Then poof. So.
Have you been inside a spaceship, Nikos?
If you look inside the charade that they show us is the shuttle, it's a very tight space, and they make it look like very amateur. You know, like the way that everything's kind of like stuck together and put together, and it looks very uncoordinated. Are you telling me that some lady with wavy hair is allowed to just float around? You know, like. What if something gets caught? What if she catches something? What if she gets electrocuted? You know, like it would be protocol. It would be. I'm sure.
Nah,
I'm 99.9. I'm 100% sure.
I don't know whether it was real or otherwise. I don't know. I've got no idea. Right. I lean towards. I don't believe that they were floating around space. I lean towards. There's always too many anomalies that could be resolved. Right, like the iPhone pictures that they took, with the moon here and the Earth behind it, like ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. And I want to show you a video. In fact, I want to show you a video right now about this, right? Because if you watch this and they do it, he makes a point. It's not the point I'm going to make, but I'll show the video and then I'll riff off of the point. Watch this.
Someone needs to please explain this to me because I don't quite understand. If we can zoom in this close to the moon, if we can get this close to the moon from the Earth with the powerful cameras that we have, and we can just zoom right in on it, then why won't NASA zoom in on Australia? That way we can see this, and the whole debate about whether the Earth is a globe or it's flat would be over, right? Why don't they do that? Why does it look like every single composite of the globe Earth looks like CGI, looks like Photoshop? Why does NASA admit that it's Photoshop, that it is composites, even though we're going to Mars and all this stuff and sending rovers? Make it make sense. If they wanted this debate to end and prove to everyone that the Earth is a globe, this is all they would have to do. It's so simple. They have the technology, clearly. So why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? Someone explain it. Why don't they do that? Why don't they zoom in on the Earth from their locations that they're taking pictures of the Earth from? Doesn't make sense. It's all a lie. The globe is a lie. You're all being fucking duped. Wake the fuck up. Peace and love.
So I'm not coming at it from the flat Earth perspective, but I think they do make a good point. When you see the size of the Earth from when they were flying around the back, when they were going around the arse end of the moon, the dark side of the moon, right? And it only takes 40 minutes. 40 minutes to come from one side of the back side of the moon to the other. Okay, 40 minutes. And there was a movie called there was an album called The Dark Side of the Moon. Do you know how long that album's soundtrack was? It happened to be 40 minutes exactly to the second, the same time it took to get around. Just a little random coincidence. Anyway, my point being, when they were flying around the arse end of the moon and they had their iPhones out and they were taking pictures of the Earth, the distance the Earth looked, it was so far away, yet it absolutely had no correlation to previous pictures that they took from the moon or from when they were in the kind of moon's orbit previously, where the Earth looked a lot bigger. It also didn't show any turn, not even a single 1 degree of rotation of the Earth. It was 18,000 miles an hour that spins. Now, I know the argument is, well, it takes 24 hours to do a whole rotation, but I'm saying the Earth didn't even pivot like 1 degree, like a second on a clock. Didn't move at all during their pictures or their videos that they were taking. To me, I'm sorry, Eugene, I'm not on the flat Earth thing. I'm just saying that the up in the space, there's absolutely no consistency, none at all. And to that man's point, why can't they fucking zoom in and show us planes flying upside down and show us a city from where they are? They could if they wanted to, but they don't. And that coupled with hairy, fairy, flary girl I'm sorry. There's too much. There's too many anomalies, mate. Too many anomalies. What are we doing?
You're doing a great job, Sean. You're doing a great job. I haven't had to say a single word. You've done a great job.
Why not? Why not is not the proof of anything. Why I can say why not about anything. Why not is just some guy saying why not. You think
Why is the
NASA
burden of
is sitting
proof?
there
Why,
trying
why
to
is the
prove-
burden? Why is the burden of proof on the suspicious people? Like what? Why is it? I think.
Where's
that-
our
I think
proof? Where's our
if there's
proof?
re- if there exactly, where's our proof?
But
Or where's Nikos's proof?
Where's my
their job, they're not sitting there trying to prove to flat earthers that there is space. They're just doing what's the point of faking this? They're
I
not
told
trying
you,
to convince anybody.
$78 million a day just from one contract to NASA alone, without the private contracts that go to all the subcontracted companies like Elon Musk gets. It's
But
hundreds of
people-
millions of dollars a day worldwide that they take in from people to show them fake
From who?
movies that they could. The Sandra Bullock movie she done. What was the Sandra Bullock movie where they done like anti-gravity and stuff, all that stuff? That one movie cost like $80 million to make and done like $250 million at the box office. Like they're taking that every single day in one contract. Like, get your head round. They're just taking people's money, and like this.
But
is
they're gonna
just,
take that money, Nikos, regardless. That money's gone. That's the
yeah, but
tax
they take
dollars
it,
gonna be
this is a
taken
way where
anyway.
people can't question it. If you're taking that money to put it into wars, you get the outrage we're getting right now with Israel and Iran. But if you do it in something like this, it's someone's word against theirs, and then they've done a good job programming people. We've been subliminally programmed since we were kids that this is what they're doing. I'm sorry,
No.
but it's just it's a money-making scam, and it one day will be revealed that is all it's been. And unfortunately,
money is already gone.
There are people that already can see it, you know, and eventually everyone, when Joe Rogan says it, everyone will go, oh yeah, you know, but until then, people like me are going to be the advocates for it. But, you know, like I said, everyone's kind of on the fence or not, but you've got to make your mind up because the maths don't maths. No matter how many points we bring to people like you, no matter how many times people like Sean
People
say
like
does it make
you?
sense.
People like you.
People like you.
That's not a point.
It's true.
Somebody's
It's true. It's
hair.
true.
That's
It's-
not a point.
That's what I'm saying. The
The
thing
hair,
is,
the hair is a reasonable question. It's a reasonable fucking question. Come on now. It's completely. It's such an unorthodox decision. It would be like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another analogy. It would be like driving the car and then just put like something completely irrelevant, like taking out the seat out of a car and putting a stool in instead, and then saying, "Yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine." It's a terrible analogy. My analogies aren't on analogizing right now. But Eugene, it's a fair question to ask why it is that an astronaut with long hair wouldn't put her hair in a bun, given that space is such a scarce resource in that sort of environment. It's to prove a point.
I'm on ChatGPT. I just asked, do astronauts need to cut their hair? And the answer is yes.
Well, there you go then. Problem solved. We fixed it. We got it. We got there in the end. We were all right.
Eugenie!
Someone
Hey,
said.
hey, with
that one dealt
ChatGPT.
with.
Someone said in the chat, is there not was it maybe just that she took her hair out for a photo and then back in the bun? But every single photo that you've seen, any video links that you've seen, any of the recordings they've done up there, she's never ever got her hair in a bun at any point.
Oh, hold on.
So-
That's different. Sorry, never mind. Do they need haircuts? Okay, different. Hold on. I need to update the query. Go on. I'll update you on.
You're going to keep asking a question until it eventually agrees with you. But the first question you ask agreed with us. And it's true. It doesn't make sense. Just from like, again, regardless of what side you're on, if you was on a program like that that's cost billions and billions of dollars, they would go through every single protocol to make sure there wasn't a fuck up somewhere. And things like that would be things that they would curb and make sure we're in place straight away. Go on, tell us what ChatGPT said.
Updated.
But
yes,
even Sigourney Weaver shaved
can
her hair
have long
off,
hair.
you know?
Yeah, it says they can have long hair, and they've listed multiple examples of women who had.
I'm not saying
long
that
hair.
they can't have long hair. I'm just saying, why would you leave your hair flying all over the place?
Program.
No, but that's not proof of anything. That's just what if.
I guess the analogy you could use to defeat me is to say, where's the logic in allowing Borussia Dortmund fans to have these giant 40-foot flags waving the entire game when the people behind can't see the game? Doesn't make any sense, but it happens. Fair enough. I'll help you out, Eugene. I'll do a better job than you're doing in defending your own absolute satanic worshipping NASA scientists, engineers, whatever. I get it, bro. I get it.
We found Eugene's merch. ChatGPT says yes.
I mean, I gotta go somewhere. If you guys
No,
don't
I
believe,
get it. I get it. I get
No,
it.
come on. Just again, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, it doesn't make sense that you would have your hair out like that. It just doesn't.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know. All right, let's have a look at another video. We'll try and make it sequential because I've got loads of different ones to bounce around with here. Trying to find ones that are something to do with space-ish for the time being.
Spacey.
Spaces. Have a look. What's this
Kevin
one?
Spacey.
Why I don't know why the ether is so terrifying. At least I used to not know why. Because we have free space impedance. We have an electric constant and a magnetic constant in a vacuum. We have the Casimir effect. We actually even have repulsion in the Casimir effect. Casimir repulsion effect. So why is it that people aren't acknowledging the ether? And that's when you find out, because if there is a substantive ether, the Earth cannot be going around the sun. So then what I did was went and looked back at, well, what's the evidence that proves we're going around the sun? Right? Because there has to be substantial evidence here that's making us completely ignore the ether. Because that's what I started with, was Tesla, ether, electrical field theory. These people can't define magnetism and think there are virtual particles. What a bunch of idiots. That turns into, why are they not acknowledging the ether? That turns into, oh, because that would mean the Earth can't be going around the sun. And then you get to, what's the evidence that we go around the sun? If all we have is aberration and parallax, that stuff can just happen in the sky on its own. That doesn't prove that I'm moving because the stuff in the sky moves. There's no evidence that we're moving around the sun other than assuming it.
It's actually quite the opposite. It's actually, there's more evidence proving we're not moving around the sun than we are.
I didn't actually understand a word. I didn't understand a word of what you just said, to be honest.
I watched a video the other day, right? And it was saying about when we could see Venus, and the guy had it all laid out. And I know it doesn't. I know they don't just all move around in the same line, but he was making a point that there was one point so many years ago, and it was supposedly it only happens once in a 1,000 years or something. And there was 3 planets that you could see at one point. And the point he was trying to make in the video was, if you're on the sun's here and you're on the dark side of the Earth, he said Venus is closer to the sun than it is Earth. He said, so how can you see a planet that's supposedly closer to the sun, but the other planets you could see were further away from Earth?
Wait, Venus isn't closer to the sun than it is to Earth, surely not.
Is it? Oh, maybe I've got the planet wrong. Maybe I've got whatever planet it was.
Mercury?
Yeah,
I don't think we can't see Mercury. We can't see Mercury, can we? I don't think we can see Mercury.
He was lining them up, but well, obviously I didn't listen to it well enough. But the point of what I was trying to say is that
What are we doing here, Adam?
I fell short on that one, didn't I? But you supposedly could see 3 different planets, and one of them was closer to the sun than the other ones. And the other thing I was watching as well when it was showing on I think it was pictures on the space station. I was going to say that on the last point, but they were showing pictures. I know, a bit fucking late to the party, you know. But it was showing how small the moon was compared to Earth, and it was so much bigger and so much smaller on different pictures. I don't believe any of it.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think that for me, I got no idea, right? I got no idea. There's a lot of that bloke who was just talking on that thing a minute ago. I got no idea what he was saying about parallax and ether and all that shit. I got no idea. But apparently, the PhD guy, I wish they'd shown his response, because the PhD guy was sitting there going, oh, that's an interesting point or whatever. And he's making a point about the fact that we can't be going around. So he's advocating, I guess, for the flat Earth, right? I guess, but I didn't hear the rest of the argument. And I was going to go and look it up, but then I thought, well, if the whole debate is going to be about that sort of content, I wouldn't have a fucking clue what he was saying anyway. Yeah. So
the interesting part about that particular video there is, if you acknowledge that there is ether, like the guy put up there, that would mean that there's free electricity available to everybody. It would put the electric companies out of business overnight if there was actually conductive electricity that you could pull from the air. So that's why they don't acknowledge that there's actually ether.
I saw a conspiracy theory the other day, a video that said the reason why, for the same thing about the ether, that's the reason why pylons are so high, because they're grabbing the ether out of the sky. I was like, I'm pretty sure, mate, it's just to make sure that no one walks into fucking electricity wires.
If you go into the Tartarian technology, like look into that, like every building had copper piping and had those type of antennas on the roof, you know, and it's they've actually hidden it in a lot of like symbology and stuff like that over the years. But one of the top cryptocurrency coins is called Ethereum, after the ether. You know, people call it ether. You know, like it's something that, again, it's a technology it's not a technology, it's a free resource that they make us pay for these days by telling us it doesn't exist, taking it themselves and then selling it back to us. Whereas in a previous civilization, it was free and abundant and everyone had access to it.
Yeah, but the Tartarian story is made up by Americans who think that the world started when America started, and they think like in 1800 that Tartarian. But we know that 1800, like Europe was a thriving metropolis, a thriving continent for like 1,000 years before then.
If anything, the Americans have done a good job with the Smithsonian hiding this civilization. They went on a big campaign for centuries hiding this civilization from us. So if anything, the Americans have been
the Tartarian story says like in 1800, which is 200 years ago, like London didn't like completely reset itself in the last 200 years, maybe 1,000 years ago or something. But if the argument is it happened in the last 6 or 7 generations, it's mental. Because
how do you know?
I think there's credibility to it. Again, if the way that I got my head around it is the population numbers. Like if you go back and you retrace the steps on the population growth, you can actually go back 200 years and find that there was only like 100,000 people that lived in America, 50,000 people that lived in one side of the country. Like
but not in Europe. Europe's been like London's been thriving for best part of 1,000 years.
Yeah, what they've done is they changed the history, and what we know in England as the Victorian period. And the Middle Ages were actually the Tartarian ages. So they've just rewritten the history a little bit. There were people here, but there was a cataclysm, and a lot of the old infrastructure, a lot of the old buildings were repurposed, reused.
You actually believe that 200 years ago there was, or at some point in the last 200 years, that they've reset the entire history?
Yeah, I think to get my numbers right, I think it goes back to like the early 1800s. So somewhere in the last 250 years, like there was some type of cataclysm that took out a large percentage of the world, and the growth of the population spike has.
Come on, mate. I've read books that are older than 1800, mate.
Mate, I just said it. There was civilizations here before. I'm not saying there weren't people here before, but there was some type of reset where a lot of the people were taken away. It doesn't mean that the books didn't last, or antiques and things like this, and infrastructures and buildings, and all these old buildings we talk about from like 300, 400, 500 years ago, civilizations from 5,000 years ago, pyramids and whatever. There obviously was stuff here before, but at some point, the people got taken away, and the population.
I don't know about that one. I can't be on board that one. I can be on board like the mud flood and all that sort of thing. I can be on board it, but the timelines of it don't make any sense to me. It can't be that recent. It can't be that recent.
The population. Well, think about it this way: the population would be so much bigger than 7 billion or whatever it is right now. If we hadn't had a reset at some point in the last 300-400 years, think about how big the number would be of the populations.
Well, you said it was 200 years. Now you're doubling the horizon.
No, I said 18. I think it's like 1830s. I've done a lot of research.
No chance, mate. No.
What do you mean no chance?
No chance. I'm not sure.
My great grandparents lived in 1830s, and they were not Tartarians. I mean, we can go back and trace the lineage.
Yeah, we can do family trees that go back. Like there's very easy to get family trees that far.
14,000 years ago, before the Younger Dryas, for sure. That's why the Göbekli Tepe. That's why underground cities, for sure. Atlantis, the myth of Atlantis, for sure it happened. However, it was thousands of 14,000 years ago, before the Ice Age. Like 200, even 400, it's too close where we've kept records, their lineages, that's, I don't know.
There were people here. I'm not saying it's like we started from zero. There was obviously people here, but I'm saying there was some sort of type of cataclysm which took out a large percentage of the population worldwide. That's what I'm saying. So whether it be, half of it, a quarter of it, or whatever, but there was some sort of type of event that did happen in the early 1800s in regards to mud around the world that killed a lot of people. But I don't know. We're
I'm not on that one.
We're so far away from that point.
You're in the mud with that one, mate.
We're so far away from that point in history where it's you're listening to someone's writing. You haven't got like the verbal confirmations or the video evidence. There's no like physical evidence.
There'd be thousands of books that would write about it.
There was until about 100 years ago when they burnt them all.
Now, do me a favour. Come on, mate. It's too soon.
Right.
If you
mafia.
No, I knew you were going to say the math don't math, and the maths do math, mate, because you can easily fucking go back and just look in the history. You can find
Google.
It's only 4 or 5 generations ago. Come on now.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
If you go, Google have got a tool, right? If you go onto Google and you can search books by years, if you go back and search any book about Tartaria in the last 100 years, it will show you nothing. But if you go back into the tool and you go back to 1600 to 1800, it brings up thousands of documented books. They've deleted it.
I believe there was an area called Tartaria, which is now known as like the greater Siberia, the Greater Chinese Empire, all that sort of thing. But I definitely believe in the Tartarian Empire. But this idea that a giant mud flood came in and wiped out London and 3/4 of Europe 200 years ago, nah.
I don't think it's London. I think London was far enough away. I think, to be honest, it was more like Central Europe, Africa, parts of Asia. I think
if that all happened at the same time, it would have been because of some giant event that would have taken out nearly everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Nikos, you know that idea of Tartaria was made up by a Russian author, right? Like, for example, Tunguska event, right? It happened, and there are records, there are stories, there are books about it. If something would have happened 200-300 years ago, versus a Russian nationalist author, in order to make a bigger point about the Russian whatever, made this. It's like not Scientologists, but the Mormons, where whatever his name is, John Smith, suddenly find the tablets. Like, a guy makes up a story, it doesn't mean, right? Like, the absence of things doesn't prove that it actually happened, or you can say that about anything.
They've deleted a lot of history, whichever way you want to look at it. Like, a lot of the history is now controlled. So now everything is documented on the internet. There is somebody that can control what goes on the internet. So information has been controlled even more so than it was before. But as I said, if you go back and use Google as a tool, there are thousands of books about Tartaria going back from 1830, 1840, right back to the 1500s. Hundreds and thousands of books, mate, because books was the main thing that they documented. But people have still got them, people have still found them. But for some reason now, if you go and look on Google now for anything in the last 200 years, there is nothing about Tartaria. There is flags, there's artifacts, there's evidence, there's buildings, there's structures. There's more than enough documents and evidence to say that there was a civilization around the world that was very advanced, and it come from that part of the world, 100%.
So I believe someone's wrote in the comments they put Rothschilds rewrote history. I do believe they've done that in certain things.
Same, yeah, same. I'm on board everything Nikos is saying, just not in the last 200 years.
Yeah.
Let's agree to disagree on that one point then. Let's agree.
Rothschilds. Okay.
Yeah, the Rothschilds, mate. You know what? If we
how many of them? 5 Rothschilds. They sat down and rewrote history, or 6 or 7.
Mayor Amsher Rothschild and his 5 sons. James Rothschild was the London one. They took over the banking dynasty. They ended up corrupting the Bank of England, and then
how did they rewrite history?
It's not just they're one of many powerful families. It's not just all down to the Rothschild family.
They were the creators of the Greater Israel Project, to be honest, the Star of Remfat.
But the point is,
they just orchestrate the financial stuff. They just did the more modern financial stuff. But history has been controlled by a very select amount of families, as we've talked about before on the show.
Yeah, Lord Milner.
It's simpler than that. Any war that ever happened,
the great bloodlines, the Committee of 300. There's more than just one family that are controlling this conspiracy. It's hundreds of families, great big families that
most about 12,000 people around the world know what's going on. They say.
Here,
so they say.
Any war that has been ever fought, history is written by the winners. As an example, when I was in school in Soviet Union, they taught us that the Soviets won the war. In the States, they teach us that the US won the World War II. It's because of them. Like, every country, the history is different. Every war, whoever wins rewrites history, and it's been happening since Mongols, the Romans. So it's not a conspiracy where a family or two. It's the winners they position themselves in a certain way, and they rewrite history. So what we know going back thousands of years is based on the winners.
Yeah.
We don't know about the losers. That's just the way it is.
But the Rothschilds have been in control since the 1700s, since the late 1600s, which is at the same time as the Illuminati sort of forged out of the what was the guy's name? I forget the guy's name in Germany, who wanted to get all of the Bohemians together, all of the intellectuals, all of the illuminated ones, all of the academics, the professors, and the money men, and then to decide to. And they got involved in the occult stuff. They got involved with the Kabbalah and all that stuff, and they started worshipping Satanism, which we can go into in a bigger deep dive next time or on a different show, unless something comes up in a minute. But I do have one last. This one here, Nikos, might trigger you because I've got to call bullshit on this one. This is a Flat Earth Dave that I found, and he was trying to do his math was trying to math, and it doesn't make any sense. So let's see what he says, and I'm just going to call it out in a minute. But let me see what's out on this one.
They tell us the radius of the Earth is 7,917 miles. Okay, between these, that's 7,917. Then we could look here, we can go on a map, and we could actually verify without relying on pictures. We can drive across Mexico and prove that this is 934 miles from Baja to the far side of Mexico. 934 miles. Perfect.
Okay.
Well, here's the far side of Mexico and Baja, 934 miles. Well, I should be able to fit 8.5 of these line segments in between these two lines. 8.5 doesn't even fit on this slide.
Okay.
What does that tell you about this picture? It tells you that this picture is fake. If NASA's faking pictures of Earth, then your number one reason that you think the Earth is a globe is completely debunked.
All right, so the problem with that is that he said that the radius is 7,934 miles, right? That's what he said.
Don't they say that the circumference is 24,200 kilometers or something? Is the circumference?
Right, but just quickly, he said that the radius is about 8,000 miles.
Okay.
So, and he's looking at let's just use this as an example. Imagine this is the picture that he's looking at. He's saying that the radius is from point here to point here. And he's right. The radius goes straight through the center of the circle. That picture of the Earth has a giant fucking, it's a round spherical shape. So if he might be right that it's 800 miles from Acapulco, wherever it was in Mexico, but Baja to Acapulco. But he's saying that the radius is 8,000 miles, but he's using a flat disc and assuming that the radius, like that's the radius that goes from here to here, from one side of the world to the other. But the picture that he's pointing at does this, doesn't it? Because it's a sphere. So I don't know if you've ever like played the game of like what's longer, the length of this from here to here or the circumference, but circumferences look deceptively small compared to how big they really are. So his science there, his math doesn't math because he's confusing the radius of a circle with the outer hemisphere of a spherical globe. And no one picked him up on it. And I think
that's a great example.
Anyone that names himself Flat Earth Dave, like I would look at with a side eye, even from my circles, to be honest. I know he's got a lot of good apps and he's been an advocate in the circles, but I'm not a huge fan. I don't really watch his content, to be honest. So he seems a little bit weird to me.
But then don't they say that it's not a perfect globe anyway? It's not exactly like a perfect.
Yeah, it's an oblate spheroid. It's like a beach.
But none of them pictures ever show that.
That's true. None of them ever do. But it's only slightly chubbier at the circumference at the
equator. And he says like a pear or something.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. It's some stoner who I'm sure got an F in algebra is sitting there with a map and saying, I solved the conspiracy, 1,000-year-old conspiracy to flat Earth because I can look at the map. It's like if you don't know what you're talking about, like it's the same thing as if I was talking about neurosurgery without knowing anything about anything. So I don't know.
I think he's got a point. I think his intentions are probably right, but I think he again probably delivers it sloppy. I think.
No, but it's like he doesn't obviously know math.
He's just he's flat out wrong there, though. He's saying that picture that what from one side of the globe to the other is 8,000 miles, but he's completely wrong because he's using the idea of the radius, and the radius of a sphere goes straight through the center of the Earth. Yeah. It doesn't go around the outside, and like that additional half moon is probably makes that it probably makes the radius. Or how much is the radius? How much is the circumference of the Earth? 18,000.
24,200 kilometers is what they.
24,000. Okay, so it's 12,000 miles from here to go like that, then, isn't it? Give or take, right? Whereas he's saying it's 8,000, so he's 50% wrong. He might still be right that that's a picture rather than an actual, like it's a fake picture rather than an actual picture, but the way that he justified it is completely wrong, and that sort of thing just delegitimizes these people. You know?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I agree.
It's a great comment in the chat. A little information is very dangerous. That's like me in the stock market. I learned few words and definitions, and I think now I can make money, and then I lose my ass. Since it'd be better if I would know nothing than a little information. So
that was the same as me. When I played poker, and I did about 6 or 7 years ago, I got to the mini main event of the World Poker Tour. And I won 9, 10 grand or 12 grand, I think it was that particular night. I dropped about 25 grand over the next month, pretending like I was a fucking big time Charlie.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I'm up there with Daniel Negreanu. What are we doing here? You know? Anyway, should we have another look at another video, guys? Should we another one?
Let's do it.
I haven't named any of these, so this is just going to be random stuff now. It could go anywhere. It could go absolutely anywhere. So let's
random.
Let's see where we go with
this. This won't go left.
Where's it going to go?
Right, so I keep telling you about this fake news, right? Let's have a look at this. Look at the size. Look at she's carrying those buckets of concrete with one hand. Who's she? Fucking She-Hulk.
I gotta watch that again.
Right, so I keep telling you about this fake news, right? Let's have a look at this. Look at the size. Look at she's carrying those buckets of concrete with one hand. Who's she? Fucking She-Hulk.
Fucking She-Hulk. Fucking hell. I mean, that's real, right? That was on Sky News. So, I mean, how do we explain that one? Props.
Moving props.
Yeah, but from a war zone.
Yeah.
Eugene, debunk that.
I'm not a material scientist, but it's not necessarily concrete. It could be, I don't know, limestone.
Styrofoam. They're moving the styrofoam.
No, or it could be rock that's not as heavy as concrete.
Well, she's that skinny guy that goes in the gym, isn't she, that shows people up. You've seen that?
Oh, she's a powerlifter. Yeah, she's a powerlifter.
Vitalia, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Most of the stuff, I think we're on a conspiracy show. I think most people are aware that a lot of the stuff we see on the news is for benefit of them misleading us. So, like I think we brought up on before. Remember the COVID guy who was dying in the hospital was a crisis actor. Like the stuff you see on the news is not legitimate. So, I wouldn't believe any of it. So it wouldn't shock me that they're moving props around and stuff around like that all the time. But yeah, it's silly they're showing it because it exposes them, doesn't it?
That's completely
trying to say you can work harder. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't lift, if that was concrete, I couldn't lift any of that. I couldn't lift one of them.
I need to send that to my dad, because my dad's always like, no, sure. Like I was like, Dad, so you just believe everything that's on ITV News and Sky News, do you? And he's like, well, I'd rather believe them than listen to your bloody Alex Jones or your Russell stupid fucking Brand. I was like, of all the people you could pick, you picked 2 people I would never listen to for what it's worth. But like, David Icke. Hey, leave my David Icke alone. You leave my David Icke alone. But I want to send him that and go, oh, you believe that, do you, Dad? You believe that, you Burke? What are we doing here?
I come to terms with it. Some people are happy in that kind of world of naiveness. Like leave them there. Especially if they're a lot older, like our parents. The last thing you want to do is upset their world in their later years and stuff, and let them go to their graves in these kind of like weird mindsets and stuff. I said more of a young man's game to figure out a future. If you especially got kids and families and stuff, but. Same with my dad. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
I love that. Conspiracy is a young man's game. It's
younger.
I'm a professional conspiracy theorist. I've got to retire by the time I'm 35. If
you haven't figured out 50, mate, you might as well just be naive and just go what the news will tell you. Yeah, there's a switch off date for you.
100%. All right, and if we cover that one,
money out of it. If you figure it all out, mate, you can actually make a lot of money out of it. That's the goal to it all. Like people say, why do you persevere with being a conspiracy theorist? Is because if you can figure it out, you can be very profitable.
But if you actually even prove these things to people, they'd probably still be in denial and go, nah.
Eugene, look at Eugene.
Yeah.
Look at Eugene. I could give Eugene the actual playbook from the government himself, and he would still find a way of saying, "Oh no, that's a CGI playbook."
Yeah, but Eugene is a conspiracy.
It goes other around, Nikos, too. It goes both ways.
It does, yeah.
Again, but I usually, again, not to sort of, I like to think that I try and be critical both ways, and we all started in the same place.
No, Nikos, you are so closed-minded now to the. You were so open-minded. You're it's one of those security devices where you have to open it the full way before it becomes completely locked.
What's the saying? What's the saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. But you've gone so open-minded to the point now where you are closed-minded on any other reality other than the one where everything's a conspiracy. And I love that about you, bro. I love it. But
I appreciate it. I'll take it as a compliment. But I'm always open to be going back the other way. I'm always open to be wrong, mate, about everything. But unfortunately, I've never been proved wrong about the things that I've changed my mind on. And it's one of those things when you go one way, you've got to have real concrete evidence to go back the other way again. You know, like it's just. Once you make that step, mate, like I said, a lot of people eventually do, and we all eventually make those leaps in different directions on different subjects. But
but not everything's a conspiracy. Like some things are the way they are presented to you.
But a lot of stuff is.
A lot of stuff is for sure. A lot of stuff definitely is. Yeah, 100%. But that's the thing. I feel like 2026 conspiracy theorists are batting like 999, but the flat Earth and the Antarctica one are the two ones that like still. You know, I think aliens, people that are believing aliens, reptilians, the fact that, like, you know, the Satanism, all that shit, those things are pretty much like you have to be, if you've gone down the rabbit hole, you'd be an idiot to come out the other side and say, no, I've been there and I don't believe it. Flat Earth, though, is still a struggle for me, Chile.
Mate, that's fine. Eventually, when the government do come out and tell us it is flat, we're going to do a 1 hour special on flat Earth appreciation. And we're going to do a 1 hour review of all of this bullshit I've had to take on all these shows.
Oh, no, we're doing more than an hour. We're doing a 24-hour live stream, bro.
Yeah, mate. And you can all just sit there and go like this to anyone that's believed it and fought the good fight and stood up for what they believe in. You know, we're going to do one of those appreciation shows. But like you said, everything seems to have come to pass. You know, when I was young, all the conspiracies that I got into all turned out to be right. So
you could just imagine Nikos now, can't you, in a big deep hole in his garden, digging up 200 years worth of mud, suddenly hitting someone's chimney pot.
The government did it for us. In Barcelona, it's funny. In Barcelona,
I told you.
In Barcelona in particular, they're doing it for you. They're digging up all the central parts of Barcelona and resurfacing all the roads, and they've discovered all this Roman architecture and ancient building structures that they can't explain, you know, but they're doing it all over the city, and it's mental.
Wait, we do that. We find a king.
You can walk down the road, mate. You can literally walk down the road, and you can just like see like contractors with their yellow jackets on, and they're digging up something. You're like, I look down the hole, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's like stairs underneath like 20 foot of fucking mud.
Next time you see one of those, mate, please get your iPhone out.
I've actually got a few pictures. I took a few when I was in Barcelona. The last few times I've been there, actually, I did that. I didn't think that. Yeah, but mate, you can see some guy resurfacing the road and they're digging down to pipe work, and you see like steps, like stone steps, like 20 feet under the ground. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they quickly do the pipe work and dig it back in, fit it back in.
I definitely think that over time, there's layers upon layers of just of like grime and gravel and dirt and shit that always is gonna like. Eventually, things are always gonna rise because dirt's gonna move, like, and it's gonna things get put up in the air and then it just lands somewhere else or whatever. There's always going to be some level of layering.
That's 20 foot.
But also, people always build in the same spots as they built in the past. If you look at like Mayan civilization or Egyptians or even like Romans or even now, people live in the same spots, right? So they build on top of older structures. So that's just the way it is. So it's not a surprise, right?
It's not very good building sort of conduct because, you know, you can't get the foundations in right a lot of the time if you build on top of something.
Yeah. Should we have a look? Should we do another video?
Go on. We've got.
No, let's see what this one is.
But there was a new leaked document. Epstein had a roadmap called What If I Get Caught? This is an email from May 1st, 2009. Mr. Epstein, Dr. Jarecki asked me to send you the following notes along with the statement, quote, I'm thinking of writing a new book and I need a co-author. That's exactly the cover I would use, too.
Yeah,
it's like
good.
the O.J. Simpson, if I did it.
Yeah,
not saying I did, but it says, what if I get caught? And it's got a bunch of segments right here. The first segment, trouble avoidance. have a fall guy, avoid learning about illegal acts of others, so give no advice that aid and abets, wife testimony, safe houses, disguises, plastic surgeon, document generation, birth certificate, driver's license, creating a new identity. And you know, Epstein's apparently dead, right? That's what they told us.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Oh my God.
He ain't dead.
That's perfectly normal behaviour from everybody. That's perfectly normal.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not dead.
He's definitely not dead, mate. Did you see the one where
Elon Musk, dad said it.
He didn't have any prostate, right? So in these Epstein files, in the emails, there was like communication between him and his proctologist or whatever it's called regarding his missing prostate, right? And then in the body that was taken out of the prison cell, when they did the autism, what's it called? The autopsy. When they did the autopsy,
some autistic surgeon.
When they did the autopsy, they said he had a slightly enlarged prostate, but he didn't have a prostate. Yeah. So the guy that came out of the hotel of the prison room, the prison cell, wasn't Epstein. And he didn't even look like Epstein. He had a different nose. He had different ears. It looked like the chef Anthony Bourdain, if anything.
Hey,
and
here's an interesting one for you. Like the richest man in America, apparently, Elon Musk, his dad said that he's not dead. So,
yeah, I don't think he is. He's definitely not. It's Palm Beach Pete.
They didn't even do protocol, did they? And have someone actually turn up to the prison and do like people have leaked that internally, haven't they? And I believe that that's true. That it was just
100%, mate. I would bet if someone put a gun to my head right now and said, "Pick an answer, yes or no. Is he alive or is he unalive?" And then they knew the answer, and you had to put your life on it. What would you pick? I would pick he's alive all day long.
Because when he was in prison, just people can't not think for a second that he must have had some sort of plan for if this did come about and he did end up in prison. He must have had a plan. He must have had shit on people that could have somehow been leaked out. Which, well, loads of stuff has been anyway, but it hasn't, has it?
Can I play devil's advocate? And actually, I don't disagree. However, a question.
That's not devil's advocate if you agree.
No. But Ghislaine's father, right? In his day, he was just like Epstein, right? He actually fought Epstein. And he was taken out by Mossad easily. So if he was taken out, if he could be taken out, Epstein could be taken out as well if he threatened somebody more powerful, or if, like, I think if he'd been in prison just, for the acts that he committed, sure.
Maybe he wasn't in prison though.
But I'm saying if he crossed somebody that he shouldn't have, then he could have easily been killed. So that's why, to me, it's 50-50.
Or what about if he said, guys, I've got a dead man's switch, and if you off me in any way, shape, or form, then everything gets dropped. Everything comes off. So how about this?
That's why she's still alive.
Let me get out. Yes, and her the same. Let me get out. Get me on a boat. I'll go and live in, I don't know, Patagonia, somewhere where no one, like, where else do all of the bad people in the world who have done horrible things seem to escape to? Argentina, right?
Argentina.
Jerusalem.
Here we go. I was waiting for that. And
no. He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, to be fair. A lot of them do seem to escape.
They do.
You was pinned on an innocent country. I can't have that.
Well, Argentina's not innocent either, mate.
Argentina's a beautiful country.
Actually, hang on. You want to see something? I've got a little video about Argentina here somewhere. Where is he?
A partir de noviembre comenzará a funcionar la primera ruta aérea directa de la historia entre Buenos Aires y Tel Aviv, y nuestras naciones estarán más cercas que nunca, profundizando un lazo inquebrantable entre dos países que supieron estar el uno para el otro cuando el destino lo demandó.
Viva la libertad.
Viva la libertad, carajo, y Am Israel High.
Yeah. Kiss goodbye to your beautiful Patagonia, Argentina.
Oh,
Well deserved.
Stay
All
back, guys,
those
Barnett.
Nazi castles with swastikas and all the tunnels.
They're
Well
all going
deserved.
to become
Well
Israeli in a
deserved.
bit. Yeah.
That guy should have been wearing a hairnet.
No, but on a serious note, if whatever Maxwell guy who was actually working for MI6 as well as Mossad and CIA, if he could have been taken out for threatening Mossad, anything is possible. The question is, it's interesting, and we'll never know why and what he said that got him potentially unalived. Or, but I agree.
I've read different reports
Be
on
alive.
Robert Maxwell. I know a lot of people go with what the newspaper told them about him because of how high profile he was. But you know, would anyone be shocked if he was just given away into the sunset and lived on an island for the rest of his life, natural life? You know, like I wouldn't be shocked.
But people like, you know what, like, again, it's hypothetical, but from the movies that I've seen, people who know too much never make it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always like, oh, you're the link between me
What if he's the head of a
and the
snake?
cops. People who know too much, it's like
You
the
know,
mafia movies.
Robert
They
Maxwell
always
is
get
very
caught.
powerful. Yeah. He
So-
controlled.
I'm saying, like, but why are we presuming that he was ever in prison? The first time he was in prison, he was given a sweetheart deal, wasn't he? Him and all of his co-conspirators back in 2010 or whatever it was. They were they were all given like no prosecution, get out of jail free cards basically, and he didn't even all he had to do was sleep in prison.
Yeah,
Like during the day, he was allowed to piss off back to his mansion and you know, carry on doing whatever he was doing.
It would be for public appeasement. So the reason why they would do that, I've worked in a prison before in a previous life as well, so I know quite a lot of the inner workings of how a prison works and how inmates move around. Yeah. I worked in Elmley.
What did you do in a prison?
I was a prison guard actually. Yeah, when I was like 18, 19, I was transferring prisoners around prisons, closing wings down. Yeah.
What was that
my
like?
man was working in the prison. He got me a job in there and just dolling around. You know, like a couple of years in the prison and stuff like that. But yeah, I do know a little bit about how the inner workings work. You know, like you wouldn't be able to move out of you wouldn't be moved out of a prison at 4 o'clock in the morning, especially like the kind of profile he is. He would be a high profile or a high value inmate. He would be like constantly surveilled. He'd be segregated. You know, like he wouldn't be like left in a random cell with some random guy drug deal. He wouldn't work like that.
I was going to say that earlier, that he would not be mixing with people in that prison. No,
he's got too much money.
Do we all agree that Ghislaine Maxwell, when she went to do her I'm pleading the fifth, wherever it was, like 6 months ago or whatever, that wasn't Ghislaine Maxwell, right? It wasn't. It was someone else that was wearing a mask that looked a little bit like Ghislaine Maxwell, but not even that much like Ghislaine Maxwell.
The nose was
different nose, different ears, different face shape, everything about her. Like anything about her that looked or sounded like Ghislaine Maxwell was the voice. Yeah. The rest of it was absolutely ridiculous. Eugene, stop looking at me like I'm fucking mental.
I didn't see it, but so hold on. So you guys know, but everybody else in court had no idea it wasn't her?
No, look, it's been a massive conspiracy, mate.
They're not doing fingerprint checks when you walk into court.
Yeah,
you're going in with a lawyer. The lawyer's answering the questions for you as well. So you speak very little in that situation. If you watch Matt, like in that interview Sean was talking about, they recorded some of it, but not all of it. She very rarely speaks. She doesn't give out because they could actually cross-examine her voice with previous things that she said. So the reason why they do no comment is because like they can't investigate, you know, what she's saying. You don't.
Have you ever seen a woman without a makeup, Nikos? It could be. Have you seen a woman without a makeup? Sometimes.
This one.
Have you watched a porn video and then a woman with no makeup?
No, you have to lower the tone, mate. You have to lower the tone.
If you're not even sure what we're talking about here, mate, look at this thing here, right? Her, okay. Come on, baby. This person here. You see this? It's just on the screen.
It's a different person.
This person, a woman with no makeup. Come on, a woman can look completely different.
Dude, her nose. She's almost got like a black lady's nose. It's so.
She got into a fight in prison.
She's got quarterback shoulders. Look at her shoulders. She's got quarterback shoulders.
You've got massive cognitive dissonance, man. Usually this is the first you've heard of this story, and you're already poo-pooing it before you've even seen the reason why people are calling bullshit on it. You want to believe this story to be legit as it is, as it's been sold, wrapped up in a nice little bow. So bad, bro. And I'm trying to figure out why. Jump on board the conspiracy, mate. That ain't Ghislaine Maxwell. And Epstein did not unalive himself. Absolutely no chance. What are we doing here?
No, that for sure, I agree. However, if you look at his list of the people on the list, if you cross one of these people who are way up there, it wouldn't be a surprise that he got taken care of. The prison part, I agree with.
I would like to answer the question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question.
You spent the best part of 2 years practicing just that voice and that voice alone.
Yeah, she sounds Scottish. She sounds Scottish.
Absolutely no chance is that Ghislaine Maxwell. Scottish.
I don't think so. But to answer your original question, Sean, the reason why they would put Epstein in prison is because if they didn't put him in prison, there'd be some sort of mass protest. There'd be mass public outcry. By putting him in prison and then killing him off, it kind of subdues all of that backlash that they would get if they didn't. So they do it for a reason and then find a way quickly out. How long was he actually in prison for before that event? He wasn't in there for like a month or something, 2 months or something, no?
Who?
Mr. Epstein.
In the New York prison, yeah, he was in there for a fairly short period of time.
MCU, it's like 2 months or so. It wasn't like he's like done 5 years and all of a sudden.
No, because he wasn't even. He was awaiting trial, so it was just like a holding.
Yeah, so it was just makes sense. It was just a way of just quietening people down, getting accountability, but unfortunately, no one to answer for the accountability. It's one of those kind of like brush it under the carpets. He's alive. He's alive. I'm sure he's alive. If I was betting money, gun to my head, I'm saying he's alive.
You're giving a public too much credit. People care about things for 3 days and then they go on with their lives. There wouldn't be an outcry. People, like, whether he was in prison or not, I don't disagree. All I'm saying is the level of people on his list, it wouldn't be a surprise that people like him who know too much don't make it. That's my whole point.
He was too powerful, mate. He was too powerful. I agree that would happen to somebody on a lower level. But he was too connected. He was too high profile.
Like Maxwell, right? He was even more connected and more powerful. He was a sir. He was knighted by the British. But you guys.
If you was to ask me right now, put gun to my head, did Maxwell die when they said how he said? I'd probably say no too.
I mean, he did die on the boat, right? He was killed like.
Yeah, but did they ever recover his body?
I think so.
I'm not sure they did they?
No, I didn't know. And it was something. It was something that was undocumented because he was on a yacht somewhere or something. Like.
Just like Osama bin Laden when they went, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Oh, really? Where is he? Oh, we gave him a Muslim burial at sea. Really? Before anyone got a chance to see him? Okay.
And Tupac. Where's Tupac? Is he with them?
That doesn't sound suspicious at all. Doesn't sound ridiculous at all. And that's Saddam Hussein. Really? Really? Was that the same guy? I'm not without trying to sound racist. Out there's probably about. Like in every 1,000 people, there's probably about 200 of them that could look a little bit like Saddam Hussein. Dark hair, beard. It's not that dissimilar. I'm pretty sure Saddam Hussein wasn't the geezer that got unalive that way. We never got to saw Bin Laden's body. We're supposed to just take it because the U.S. government said so. Oh, of course, they never lie, do they? The governments of the world, they never lie to us. Never. It's ridiculous. No, I'm not listening to this bollocks anymore, Eugenie. What are we doing,
This is a conspiracy show. This is not a debunking show. This is a conspiracy show. We're not here to try and debunk the conspiracies. We're here to prove the conspiracies.
But that wouldn't be fun. You need somebody who actually.
You do need someone. Yeah, we need someone to bounce
talk
off.
sense.
Yeah, maybe you should do a debunking show once a week and put him on there on his own.
Yeah.
I'm a contrarian. If you say that he is alive or dead, then I'll go the other way. Like I have to play devil's advocate.
I'm the same in life.
I'm the same, but with the public narrative, with the narrative they're putting out to us. I'm the same the other way. So when they tell us we're flying around, we're going to go around the moon a couple of times and do a yoki koki or whatever. Like
And people can make up their own minds based on the evidence.
All right, let's move on. Let's have another look at something else, shall we? Next video. What are we doing here? Next. What's this one?
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 decades.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a day.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom to do it. Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs. They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
Listen, I didn't want to make it about him, but when I saw that video, I had to bring it up. There's two conspiracies here. One is the repeat and recycle of Iran are a couple of weeks away from the world going kaput, which is just rinse and repeat. Oh, okay, this time, yeah? This time I gotta believe you. Okay. The other conspiracy, though, is that guy does not age. He's
not the same guy. That can't be the same guy. I agree. I was thinking that the way through. That's a different guy every time. 100%.
He looks the same age now as he did in 1985. 40
it's James
years
Bond.
ago.
It's James Bond.
How old is he?
He must be 75 now and probably 35. He looks the same. He hasn't aged at all. Must be all that. I don't know that adrenochrome that he drinks every day, eh, Nikos? What we saying?
Mate, I think it's a mask. I think it's a character he's playing. To be honest, I don't think it's the same person every time. And without even getting into it, he's got an ICC arrest warrant out for him that is now applicable in 27 of the 28 countries in Europe. So that guy steps anywhere in Europe outside of an airport that's not controlled by his government, he'll be arrested. So I'm looking forward to that day.
He's never going to get arrested, bro.
He will get arrested. He'll get arrested.
There, is he?
Or he'll end up on a yacht somewhere like Maxwell.
Europe is not. Europe cannot even arrest the migrants. You think they're going to arrest him?
Mate, let's not do that. There's an ICC warrant out, which is the international courts.
No, I know.
They're never going to arrest him, mate.
They cannot arrest him.
Like I said, I think he would end up with a Robert Maxwell ending. But I just said he can't come anywhere in Europe right now. And that's bad for a leader of a country. That shouldn't be the case. That's bad politics. It's bad business. It's bad look on the people from them countries.
Who's the one country? Who's the country that doesn't recognise the ICJ?
I'm not sure. There's only one that hasn't. I'm not sure which one it is.
Nobody cares about it, honestly. Like,
well,
America
obviously
does
they
what
do. Obviously they do. If 26 out of 27 have agreed to arrest the guy when he lands there, the problem is, it's like
they're not going to arrest him, mate.
China doesn't care about anything that they say. America doesn't care about, like, Israel. Like, it's all PR. It's like the UN. There's a resolution that this guy's a bad guy. Nobody cares. It's all for PR.
He is a bad guy, though. He's a
bad guy. I agree.
He's a horrible fucking guy. Horrible guy.
He should have been gone.
If I was Israeli, I would be embarrassed. I would be condemning him if I was Israeli. I'm not.
A lot of Israelis do. A lot of Israelis are.
It's growing as well. It's growing every day. It's growing every single day as well. This is something that 2 years ago, mate, he had, unanimous support across the board. Like, people have had enough of this.
I don't. He didn't have support. He's got a lot of people that in Israel. A lot of the moderate Israelis can't stand him.
I have family in Israel. So before October 8th, there were protests on the streets to get him out. There were like 70% of the people, because what he did was he restricted the powers of the Supreme Court, to give himself more power. So 70% of Israelis want him gone. There were protests on the street. And then, surprise, October 8th, right? So again, like, he is a bad guy. People who he is around there, it's like the people who lived through the Cold War. The Cold War is over, but they still have the same mindset, right? Like in America, you have him. In Russia, you have him. It's the same thing. He has this mindset like it's 1948 or 50, and he's a bad dude. Right. Israelis don't support him. However, that's what happens. You manufacture a war, and then people support you.
At the end of the day, mate, I'm a firm believer in answering for your crimes. Like, if I've been to court before for things that I've done, I'm sure other people in this chat here and people in this panel, if you've ever been pulled up for something you shouldn't have done, you have to go and answer for it in court. And if you're lucky, you get away with a fine or a slap on the wrist. This guy has had a court case pending for 6 years, And for the last 4 years, he's found an excuse of security reasons to not attend a trial for the crimes that he's alleged to have committed.
Sure. And he's
That's
not going
acceptable by any. He's the only person on earth that can get away with that. That's
He's not the only person on earth, mate.
In Iran,
99% of politicians are all above the law. They
in
all
Iran, they killed 25,000 people.
The point is they go to court and beat the court. They go and find a way through the court to win. Yeah. But he's had a court case only last Sunday that was due to be adjourned. It was adjourned again last Sunday because of what's going on with the Israel-Iran.
American politicians, if they are found guilty of doing something dodgy, right, or doing something which is like deemed to be verging on criminal or whatever, they have to go to. They don't go to a normal court and face a jury of their peers. They go to their own Congress or the Senate or whatever, and have hearings there. It's the equivalent of like me. I don't know, me robbing a house and then just going and letting all the Tottenham community sit there and decide whether I'm guilty or not.
But it's like I tell you what, the right analogy is
politicians work on their own level, mate.
The analogy is exactly that. Is you got a court case on Monday, and every Sunday before your court case is rescheduled to happen, is you call the court up and say that your wife's gone into labour or your house got burgled the night before, let's reschedule it. And the lawyers have done a good job pushing this guy's court case back, but it's been going on for 6 years. So what needs to happen to either give this guy credibility and the country credibility, this guy needs to go into court, face his accusers and what he's accused of, and either beat it with a good fucking lawyer like Alan Dershowitz or go to prison for the crimes he's committed. But the longer it goes on where he's not answering for his crimes, the less credibility his country and his government that he stands for.
Donald Trump went to the Israeli parliament and said to the guy who's like the head MP or whatever it is, give this guy a pardon. He didn't, and the judge who was supposed to be on the case, who said no, we're not throwing this out. We're gonna go to court. That guy was killed in a car crash like 2 weeks later. So like. Don't hold any hope that Netanyahu's ever going to face the consequences of his actions.
Last thing I say, because I know you want to interject here. Like, if Donald Trump can be in court for 550 days over a 2-year period prior to becoming the president of America, he can go to court and answer for whatever it is alleged that he's meant to have done. If the president of the free world now had to stay in court for nearly best part of 2 out of 4 years prior to being president, answering and beating his charges, this guy needs to go to court and either get away with it and have a great lawyer and a bribe, like,
come on, Nicholas, you don't actually believe that was anything more than theatre, right?
No, again, but I just think that the point is like it's setting a bad example for the people of that country because they're being accused of something and they're not clearing their name. You know, like it'd be the same way you'd want to go clear your name if you was accused of something. You know, this guy's not clearing his name. Whether he's guilty or not, I don't know. None of us would actually know. But for what he's being asked to defend himself on, it looks like he can't beat it, which is why he keeps prolonging it.
It's corruption more than anything
else. That's like Putin, though. They'll never get rid of Putin. He'll die the day that he leaves Parliament.
Do the people? Hold on. Do the people of Iran are they responsible? Like they killed 45,000 of their own people. They're not going to court.
It's got nothing to do with
I'm saying nobody goes to court.
Netanyahu answering crimes that he's been accused of doing.
Hold on. You're talking about going to court, international court. I'm saying is genocides in Africa, millions of people killed. Nobody goes to court. Nobody cares. Iran kills 45,000. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to go to court. Nobody ever goes to international court. It has no power. It's all for show. Tell me one person, one leader.
Slobodan Milosevic went in the 90s, didn't he?
That's because America said you gotta go. It's a dog and pony show. Nobody actually who deserves goes there.
You have to go with the majority. If all of these countries and all of these people have condemned whatever it is that he's said to have done, but again, it's all alleged, you've got to go and face that accuser. You've got to go and beat that charge. You know,
you're being a bit naive. You're right. I don't think it will ever happen. But if in a world where he did actually get on a plane and land in Paris or land in London, he would get arrested. Even in a world where that happened, he's just going to sit and go, "Well, I'm not going to go there." Then, am I?
Yeah.
They killed millions in Africa. Does anybody ask for any of them?
It's a massive diversion tactic. It's got nothing to do with it.
No, consistency. Why aren't you asking for Ayatollah to go to court?
But they killed him.
should.
They fucking bombed him and his family.
Hold on. Okay, the new Ayatollah. The
to be
regime in Iran.
entirely clear, Eugene, anyone that's done anything like that, anyone that has done any sort of ethnic cleansing or anything like that, I would like to see all of them.
But my point is, international court doesn't matter. Like nobody gives like two shits about international. It's all for PR. A UN, nobody cares because China, Russia, and US can do whatever they want, right? They pass any resolution they want. Same thing with the international court.
Just to throw a little bit of difference, if this was Adolf Hitler doing this, imagine the difference in the kind of response we'd be getting. Imagine if Adolf Hitler was doing what he was alleged to have done, and he was avoiding going to the ICC for 6 years, and people going, "Look what he's doing everywhere! Look what he's doing everywhere!" And everyone goes, "Well, do you know what? You know, like."
No, but I'm not sure that's not what. I'm not sure that's not what
That's
Eugene's
a crazy
saying.
comparison.
Eugene, would you if you had your choice, Eugene, would you like Netanyahu to have to be in court?
Of course.
Okay, there you go. So
my point is consistency. Nobody talks about anybody else, right? Nobody talks about Ayatollahs, the Saudis, the Qataris, Africans. Not one word anywhere from Nikos in the media. Nobody talks about anybody else.
President Trump had to go to court and was.
What about the Chinese? The Russians.
Oh yeah, what the Chinese do to the Uyghurs in the northwest of
What about
China.
the Russians? They killed millions of their own people. Nobody talks about anybody going to court. But when it's Israel, I'm not saying he shouldn't go, but I'm saying let's have some consistency because the bias is obvious, right?
I'm just saying what the comparison I brought up was Donald Trump for the reason being is the Democrats in America in particular wanted to put him in jail and impeach him for having sex with a stripper. But we got this guy running around doing what he's doing, and he doesn't have to go and answer for those crimes. Like it's a massive like conflict of interest.
No, Israeli court. He should go to Israeli court, and he should be tried for corruption, which I believe he will. Israeli court.
He's not going to court. He's not. That's
but I'm saying not international.
Yeah, but we're all on the same page though. We're all on the same page, right?
But not international. That's my point.
Should answer for his crimes in Israel. And in an ideal world, he should also answer if he's alleged to have committed war crimes, then he should, as should Putin, as should anyone in the West, anyone from any country that's done any of those things. Obama dropped more bombs on innocents than anybody else. He didn't face any consequences.
And he was given a Nobel Prize.
Of course, it's an absolute disgrace. So I'm blanket statement.
Right.
I think all politicians are see you next Tuesdays. I think they are all corrupted. I think they are all compromised, and I think they all have a two-tier of justice. If any of us did a fraction of the things that they did, we'd all be in prison for the rest of our lives. But that's not a fraction,
like a 0.1%.
100%. Anyway, let's get off the topic.
Wait, you brought up the video.
Sorry, tell me a break.
I didn't. No worries, Eugene. I didn't mean to go in there. Let's get off. Let's talk about something else. Let's go on to a different one, shall we? Let's talk about. I'm just looking. All these ones that I've named are most of them are about Epstein or
Epstein, Israel,
and Israel. Yeah. Now, let me have a look. Let's do this one. Let's have a look at this one.
The Prime Minister is a barefaced liar, and if you had any decency left.
No, order. Sit and leave. Leave now. I'll name you otherwise. I'd go now if I were you. Leave. I'm not. Leave. You've been. I've no name. I've given the option to leave. I'd leave if I were you very quickly. Move before I read it and give me one option. Right, give me that. You have no duties. It's my duty to carry out and control this house. One chance. Do you want to leave now or not? Right. I name Zara Sultana. Minister, I beg to move that the name the said member be suspended from the House.
Call Jane Kitchen.
Jane Kitchen.
I beg to move that Zara Sultana be suspended from the service of the House.
The question is that Zara Sultana be named and leave this House. All those in favour? Aye. Leave. I'm sorry you've done this. I really am.
Isn't it fucking disgraceful that they get more angry about someone calling out the lie than the actual lies themselves?
Right, this is the reaction you would get actually, like in normal life. If you call people out for being a liar, this is actually the normal reaction that you get from people. He will be a member of the Fabian Society and probably on an Epstein file somewhere. That geezer, I don't even know who his name is, but you can just tell by looking at him.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's definitely a Labour MP, I think, traditionally. But it's just for me like that whole kind of protocol. Like, you're not allowed to call an MP a liar when they're all fucking liars. They are all fucking liars. First of all, it'd be so much more entertaining if those rules were abolished. Everybody in the country would dial into PMQs every single Wednesday. It would be popcorn TV. If everyone go, you fucking said what? You're an absolute disgrace, Starmer. You're a disgrace. And he gets up and goes, fuck you, Badenoch. I know what you did. I got those pictures of you. It'd be absolutely brilliant. But they get more angry with people being called a liar than they actually are about the lying. It's so fucking frustrating to me, Adam.
I think sometimes, like when you notice in Parliament, it's how you word something. So there's sometimes people will say something and they're virtually saying, well, you said you would do this and you haven't, but they'll word it in a certain way. Because whenever I go to my dad, he constantly bangs on at me about all the different ways that they talk to each other, and it's a lot of it's language, isn't it, and how they talk to each other. But to actually you're not I mean, it's written in the books, isn't it? You can't just actually turn around and call someone a barefaced liar. But that was to do with him having knowledge on is it Mandelson? Was it
Mandelson?
Mandelson,
it was, wasn't it? And it's been because I watched Jonathan. Do you ever watch Jonathan Pye? Like any of his clips? He's brilliant. I'm actually going to go and see him live in a couple of months' time. But
he's funny, but he's also a left-leaning donut. But he's very funny.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, he's good with the way he says stuff though. But but it's right. She's just called him out. I saw her video that she did when she come out of Parliament as well. She actually did a video and posted it online as well, where she'd just been called out, and it's one of them, isn't it?
It is one of them, but it's just, they've got to like. I don't get it. Like I understand all the sort of pomp and ceremony thing. But I think that the British public are done with all that shit. That's why the popularity for the royal family is like at rock bottom. You know, let's be honest, right? You got Prince Charles or King Charles, whose best friend for 25 years was the UK's most prolific PDF file and necrophiliac in Jimmy Savile, and his brother, the King's brother, was best friends with America's most well-known, notorious and celebrity PDF file or whatever, with people in power. You've got Keir Starmer's best mate being Mandelson, or one of his best mates being Mandelson. Like, David Icke was right. This country, this world is run by Satanists and PDF files, and we still sit there and tolerate, and we have to bow down and walk backwards out of a room to the King or to the Queen or to whoever else. Because why? Because they happen to come out of the right vagina when they were born. And they're born into, they have this divine right to rule over us. These fucking PDF files, these weird donuts, and they take so much fucking money, to live a life of Riley, and we have to sit there. They don't have to pay inheritance tax. They ain't got to do anything, but we do. We have to work out like from 16 until you're 65 or 70, or by the time we get there, guys, you won't be able to retire. These fuckers don't do anything. They call it service to the realm or whatever. There's no service. Every day, no. What's their duty? Oh, they sit there and have to like hold a luncheon for people that are centenarians. Do me a fucking favor. The whole fucking lot should go. All of them. The royal family. This narrative of like, oh, if you got rid of the royal family, it would absolutely crucify tourism in the UK. Why is that exactly? Like, people still go to Italy to see the Colosseum. There hasn't been a gladiator fight there in over 1,000 years. You could turn that fucking Buckingham Palace into a museum. It would still be just as great. Nobody that comes to the UK to see the royal family and all that stuff, they don't actually get to meet the king. Not that they would probably want to, because you don't know where they've been 20 minutes earlier. But you don't get to meet these people. So them being there or not being there is irrelevant. The history doesn't change because they're no longer a thing. Britain could do so much better than having a monarchy. And this idea of like a permanent sort of address, permanent state above the left, right-wing politics, it's a load of fucking bollocks. These guys are an absolute disgrace. They're a shame. They cast a shade of shame over our country, over our history, our heritage, the prestige of being British. And for me, they can fuck right off, all of them. I can't stand them.
I've always said that people, like when you hear about people in certain positions in the government, so then you'll have someone put like health secretary and all different sort of things. They have nothing. They've never worked in it. They have no idea about it. And I've always said it should be an interview process. Like, so virtually, if if it's education, it should be someone that started at the bottom, that's worked their way through teaching, worked their way through the system, and it should be an interviewing process. It should be purely an interviewing process, and then you'd be having the best people that have the best minds that have gone through the system from the bottom to the top, and they'll be making decisions. Do you know what I mean? Like based on what they know about the thing. But sometimes you'll get someone that's in one area, and someone will get sacked or whatever, or they'll get whatever will happen. And then they'll go, oh, we've decided to take this person from this area now and put them into the health secretary. And you think, like, how does
they've
that?
They've sold the British people on the idea that the monarchy it represents law and an order. It represents something morally high, but in fact, it's a very unmoralized way of life with the way they've conducted themselves from it. I think Sean's right. I think you need to abolish the parliament. I think you need to find a way of getting people into these positions of decision making that, you know, is away from what is the currently controlled way.
Micro levels. Like, people look after their local constituencies, their local, like, don't do all this, like, you have to pick Labour or Republic, Labour or Conservative. These guys, because as soon as you join those, if you go, well, I want to be in politics, and the only way I'm ever going to get elected is if I go and join the Labour Party or the Conservative Party or the Reform Party or Restore or Greens or whatever else, because they're going to fund my campaign. Take money out of politics altogether. You should be allowed to, like, yeah, I don't know, just canvas, right? Because I think your representation should be literally on sort of street by street or towns or postcode levels. Let those people have micro levels and let be completely accountable to the people around you.
You should do it in a way.
Decentralized bollocks.
You should do it in a way where campaigning doesn't cost money. So right now in America, 94% of Congress is funded by AIPAC. In the UK, 85% of politicians are funded by Fabian Society. If you expose these people and these groups of people that are funding these campaigns and these campaigns of these politicians, people would naturally gravitate away from people that are supported by these people. But until we get to a point where we actually expose that these are the groups of people that are funding the ideologies these people are pushing when they get to power, because a lot of these MPs, they come in with an idea, they come in with the right mentality, but as soon as they're bought and paid and sold, they change, you know, like, you know, you've watched it in, again, the US is only a good example because it's the most high profile, but Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Donald Trump, you know, all these guys, they come in, they say the right stuff, but the minute they get that seat, everything they said.
That's the same as Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage is the greatest fucking grifter in the game has ever known. He loves being in opposition. The second that he gets the chance, second it looks like he might. I might have a video about this one. I might have it somewhere. Have you seen all of a sudden he's like going after Twitter? All of a sudden he's saying, "Oh, the heat and the hate that some of my minority candidates are getting on Twitter is absolutely shameful. It's a disgrace." He didn't give a flying fuck about any of that 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. It's obviously because Elon Musk has changed his tune on which version of the right wing politics he's gonna throw his support behind. Whether it's Rupert Lowe, who's also a complete fucking idiot, by the way. Like Rupert Lowe, I know Rupert Lowe. I've met him before. I know him from his days as WH Ireland chairman. He's an absolute numpty who doesn't understand economics, but pretends like he does, speaks with a clipped accent, and tells you what you want to hear. But Farage is exactly the same. And now, as soon as Farage is getting close to the proximity of power, suddenly he's becoming all establishment. It's becoming more and more establishment by the day. They're all fucking same, mate. They're all the same.
They prep these guys up. They prep these guys up. They sit in the background. Like, if you watched UK politics for the last 15 years, Farage has always been on like the edges of it. You know, he's never been like at the forefront of it. And eventually, at some point, bang, he's in the center of it. And it's the same thing what's happening in like America. Again, a good example is you'll find one of those guys on the outskirts right now, like maybe not a JD Vance, but one of these other guys, they'll be pushed to the forefront of it by these people. But what needs to happen is the exposure of the people that are pushing these MPs forward and controlling what their narratives need to be. Like, I suggest anybody that's watches this show, 120 people, whatever it is, and who watch on the playback, is go and look into the Fabian Society. You know, it's one of the oldest societies in the UK. It controls most members of parliament, and whatever they say goes. And they fund
on the left. Yeah. I think 75% of Keir Starmer's cabinet are Fabian Society members. They literally used their logo used to be literally a wolf in sheep's clothing, so the carcass of a sheep with a wolf's coat over the top of it. And then
as soon as it becomes public knowledge that this is what they're doing, people will automatically see through it the same way that a conspiracy theorist sees through a conspiracy. Once the public can go, do you know what? I think this guy might be associated to the Fabian Society. His ideology lines up with what their beliefs are. As soon as their belief systems,
the average person, mate, doesn't like the average British person is too busy trying to figure out how to pay their bills at the moment. They're getting walked. At what point will the average British person sit there and go, enough's enough for whichever way they lean, whether they lean towards the left or they lean towards the right? The average British person sits there and just sort of goes, but bury my head in the sand. Like it pisses me off, whether it's immigration or whether it's right-wing racism, whichever side they're on, doesn't matter. Most of the time, the only people that have enough time on them on their side to be able to go and protest are students or pensioners. Everybody that's between the age of like 23 and 65, they're too busy getting to work or otherwise to be able to go out and actually stand up to these fucking idiots. You know, like I say, it doesn't matter which side you lean. I don't care which side you lean. It's the same on both sides. Corruption is a disgrace on both sides.
There needs to be alternatives. Like I say, everything's black and white. You know, like in the UK, you got Labour and Lib Dems or whatever. In America, you got the Republicans and the Democrats. You know, it doesn't need to always be so black and white. It needs to be people from different backgrounds, different mentalities, different ideas. You know, everything's like you're with this side or you're that side. But if you're given the opportunity to pick one of two sides, you know, you're forced into a corner. So there needs to be more options, more selection processes. But unfortunately, we don't live in that society. They even control the election machines these days. So when you come to do your voting in the near future in the UK, in the midterms come up in America, you know, the people that control these systems are Dominion in America, which is owned by Sematic or something. You know, I can't remember what the name of the company now, but they own the ones in the UK too. So even if you do vote the other way, they can control the way the vote ends up coming out in the machine. So the tabulations are just whatever they decide is going to be the case. So you can't even vote.
You want people to be proud of, though, don't you, in them positions? You want people to be proud of, because my mum's husband, he was a politician for years and he got voted. He started off as town council, then he went on to district, and then he went on to county council, and he smashed it for years. And I remember asking him once, because he used to take credit for bullshit that he didn't even do. And I remember asking him, like, I remember him saying to him, like, what was your intentions when you went into this? And he said, that's a good question. He goes, I had very good intentions. He goes, but as soon as you get in there, he said, I went into it when I was in my, like, I think he was in his mid-40s or something. And he said, I was the youngest person there by years. And he goes, it was like an old man's club. And he said, you try and push something good. He said that you just get knocked back. And he goes, unless you start getting in line, he said, like, aligning with everyone else, he goes, they'll fucking out you. He goes, you're down the road. And the funny thing was that the reason that conversation come about was that he opened our local swimming pool back in the 90s, right? And he was sitting there at the dinner table saying, oh yeah, I got that swimming pool, and my mum lost her shit, right? Because she, for years, they dressed up as wasps, my whole family, and it was called We Want a Swimming Pool, right? And they used to do the local the carnival every year and raise money for it, and they did it for years. And he obviously didn't know that my mum was part of the people that did all the fundraising, but he took all the credit, and he bought. Oh mate, that was a funny night in my house. I'm telling you, fucking hell.
Yeah, I bet. Should we move away from politics and go back into some normal conspiracy stuff? You're right there, Eugene.
One final note in there. Destiny mentioned in the chat there that in his local village, they do the pencil and the paper ballots and stuff like that. You know, everywhere in the UK that actually is the case. But what actually happens is when they count those votes up, it's a company called Smartmatic. I was forgetting the name a minute ago. You mentioned it. Yeah. Smartmatic is a company based out of originally Venezuela. And what they do is they own the tabulation machine. So when you actually put all these paper ballots into a machine, they have the possibility of manipulating the outcome. So even though it's counting, say, 100,000 votes, it might be 60, 40% or whatever. They have the possibility of actually changing that number to whatever number is either predetermined or prepaid for. The Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016 actually hired Smartmatic to do Hillary Clinton's winning campaign in 2016, which she ultimately lost to Donald Trump because they didn't anticipate such a vast turnout of votes. But the company in the UK is called Smartmatic, and that's the people that do the tabulations. And even though you do it with a paper ballot, a pen and a pencil, whatever it is,
you're not in control of the
you're not in control of the outcome, regardless of how many people do whatever.
And who actually watches the auditing of it as well? Exactly, people that are already in the system.
And they fixed the auditing as well. As you saw in 2020 in the US, all the video cameras, everything else, they still fucked it. They still fixed it. So
Destiny's from a Village makes sense. No, I'm saying Destiny's from a Village makes sense. Now a lot of things makes no. It's the funny thing is I got so triggered I forgot to pick up my son from the bus stop from school, so he had to call me. It's your fault, Nikos. It's your fault. Now, quick, just 2 cents on politics. Everybody's being so gullible. Like it doesn't matter how many parties there are, what type of government there is. People by nature are corrupt. People who go into politics for one reason only: they don't have enough talent to go into private business and make money. So they go into politics to make money, whether they're paid off by APAC or whether they're paid off by IRA or by any other special interest. Obama came in with no money. He has like 5 houses. Bernie Sanders, who's a socialist, he owns like 2 houses in Martha's Vineyard. So that's the only reason. So all that stuff is PR. We can talk about the Jewish lobby, IRA gun lobby, all this stuff. Like everybody goes into politics to make money because they cannot do anything else. They can just speak and talk.
Do you know what?
So
that makes
whether it's
sense now,
communism,
'cause my mum's
socialism,
husband used to
capitalism,
work in an off license before that.
you just go there and to get paid. That's it. It's that simple. So
You're right. They're all the same. They're all the same.
do you remember like 2017, 2018? Bernie Sanders was always bitching about millionaires, and he become a millionaire.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That he was always saying that millionaires need to be taxed.
Millionaires, taxes on the millionaires. Become a millionaire, all of a sudden it's about billionaires.
Yeah, he wrote a book. He wrote a book and made £1 million off the book, and then he suddenly changed it to billionaires, not millionaires.
Billionaires, not millionaires.
It's always the fucking. They're all the same, mate. They're all the fucking same. Anyway, let's get off politics. Let's get back to some fun conspiracy, shall we? All right, let me see what I've got here. Let's see what I've got for you.
Start it, Nikos.
It was my
I didn't
fault.
do anything. What did I do? I didn't do anything.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
This is so funny. Every show,
it's too good, yeah.
Every show becomes flat Earth and politics after a while.
So I'm sticking the videos. I'm just sitting here.
I know.
The videos pick themselves, by the way.
Yeah. It's not me. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just responding.
I mean, they think we're ugly too. And I guess it's all a matter of perspective and belief system. In my belief system, and I'm only taking responsibility for me, they're ugly. They're anywhere from 7 to 22 feet tall. They can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. They're reptilian. The longer, the ones that have stubby tails, if you see one that has no tail, he's of the warrior class or the worker class. The longer the tail, the higher their rank. When you see one with long tails, with winged appendages, he's considered royalty. There is a way to kill them. If you can't cut off their head, they have 2 hearts. There's one here, underneath this armpit, and one here. Or if you can't get to that area and you need to slow it down, you need to hit it right above its groin area. It has a very large liver. You need to wound it there to slow it down. It is not something where man-to-man combat you're going to be able to deal with, because they apparently have the strength of 12, 15 men. They're incredibly quick. They're incredibly psychic. They know what you're going to do before you do.
Is that better, Eugene?
Who the hell is this guy?
I don't know who he is. I just saw it. I thought I named it.
How does he know reptilian
DNA or biology?
Physiology.
Yeah, physiology. I don't know. No idea.
I just heard cutting off the head of a 22-foot alien.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
A liver somewhere.
What have I got here? Got something on Antarctica. Oh, I've got a black sun one. Let's look at the black sun. What's this about?
What people call the black sun, the core, is actually projecting a map on the moon of the earthly realm. And this is where you'll see here. You need to think about mirror as a projection. And when you flip the moon in reverse, you'll see that it holds an entire map of the realm that we live within. Has all the continents, everything's there. And this is not just, like I said, I want to give you guys actual things that you could see visually and you could do for yourself. But when you're out of your body and you're accessing the other side, all this is available to you and all this is visible and seen for what it really is. I know a lot of people may not like to hear truth because it's harder for someone to tell you you've been lied to your entire life when truth is finally revealed to you. The moon is an entire mapping system of the realm that we live within, and also the realm that's pretty much cut off from us. There's other land masses. It's not just Australia, America, and all the continents that they tell you. that is here. And you can access these when you're out of your body and see it. When people want to look at, get a better visualization of constructs, these are some images here that you could visually look at to get a better understanding, like seeing it. When you see something as I talk, sometimes it just clicks. The image on the left is essentially the construct of what I was showing in the beginning, but a single construct has multi-dimensional spaces and realms within a single construct. The one that we're in has 12, right? This is also where it goes into all the ancient civilizations have known about this. A lot of the history, this is what I said before, in the ancient texts, a lot of the texts are actually true, but they hold a lot of distortions because a lot of the texts and truth of the records have been destroyed within this realm. This is where you get the reset of things. This is where you get the giants and all those things. That was all here, but it has been wiped, the records. And so there's still, when you read books or you go into that, you could still find some truth, right? And it's still there. But when you leave your body and you access the other side, you access the records because all things, everything is available to all of us. That's all the information. Nothing is never truly lost.
Wait, is that a Jason Momoa? What the fuck is he talking about?
What's his name?
Jason Momoa, I know the actor.
Oh, no, it's not him. It looks like a bit like him. I don't know what he's talking about there. Was there any logic there?
Interesting
fucking lost me.
Yeah.
An interesting fact is ancient history used to use the symbol we know as the swastika is a reference to the black sun. So when you look back into ancient texts, you'll see the swastika. And
the black sun was Saturn, by the way.
Well, on the flat Earth model, it's inside the hollow Earth. So they say it's the sun that creates the eclipses. It's the inner Earth sun that actually deluminates. But the symbol
are we doing hollow Earth now? Is that where we're going? Hollow Earth?
Well, I think there's something to that too. I think there's a sun inside the Earth. Again, on the flat Earth model, there is a black sun. But I'm just saying, just for interesting, reference, that the black sun was always the symbol for it is what we know now as the swastika.
So when you're talking about when you see 20 foot deep and you see a set of stairwells, are you sure that that's not the inner Earth and we just dug a little bit too deep?
No, these are underground tunnels. I think there's underground tunnels everywhere. I think there's underground tunnels. I think there's I agree with Eugene, with civilizations build upon themselves. But I think, when you go right into the hollow Earth, like Admiral Byrd said, and, the explorations that have gone to the hollow Earth, I think it all links together. But the black sun, like I said, for interest in, if you ever come across like ancient Sumerian texts and Egyptian texts that have got a swastika, you're like, well, hold on a second, why is there a swastika on Sumerian texts? It's because that's what they use as the reference for the black sun.
So I was told when I went to plastering college when I was younger, I had this teacher for a while, and he was explaining, because we were doing like cornice sort of stuff, which is like really like detailed sort of work. And he explained to us in a lesson once that it was to do, that like the ever-ending Greek pattern that you see, like you go to places in Greece, you see it everywhere. There's certain Greek design, and it was supposed to symbolise how they would never end. It was just an ongoing thing. That he explained to us that was from that, and it was just where the lines have been cut off at a certain point, and that's what I was told anyway. Don't know if that
what the fuck
resembles anything, but
I suggest you look into it. Look into the symbol of the black sun, and you'll find it comes up a lot. There was it's in the Hebrew as well. I think it's in the Hebrew. I think it's in the Hebrew texts as well.
It's a lot. It's definitely Hindu as well, isn't it?
Hindu, Hebrew, Sumerian, Egypt. I've come across it. There's actually, it wouldn't take you long to research it, but if you go and look for like that particular symbol, it's something that has been renownedly known in all ancient history that there is a black sun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure part of the story is that the black sun was like there was some astrological apocalypse, however long ago, where Saturn used to be a lot closer to the Earth than it is now. I'm sure this. I'm gonna do a big video for everyone. I'm talking about Saturnism because I'm absolutely fascinated by it. Like 100% think that Saturnism is responsible for so much. It's linked to Refram. It's linked to child sacrifice. It's linked to Molech, Baal, all of the different things that you see come up everywhere. Saturn is at the center of everything. There's a video about it. Actually, I'll drop it in the community section of the channel. David Icke did like a whole hour-long PowerPoint presentation. He talks about it so fantastically well. It's linked to like Roman mythology as well. Anyway, let's do a couple more videos, guys, and then we'll round it off. Should we be going for over 2 hours? So good time to end it. Just do this one. What's this one here? Star holes. Something about star holes.
Seen these? These are star holes from Poland. Why are they weird? Because they twist on the way in. This would be hard in wood, but these are in granite. And they're ancient. Now try searching this. Google's AI will beat you to the punch and say this is not evidence for advanced technology. That is dumb. Star holes are older than the Egyptians. The Egyptians used a blade that thick to cut granite. The mainstream explanation that nobody believes anymore is copper tubes and sand. As an engineer, that's a shit idea. But we have this guy now. This is an ancient core of a tube drill. A drill leaves a spiral mark as it drills into the rock. That took 4 days, by the way. That method does not. The speed at which the ancient Egyptian drill went into the rock was faster than this drill right here. Just sit with that one for a second. Then some Russian dudes tried to prove that you could make hieroglyphs with flint and a hammer. Did a pretty good job. That took them 4 hours. Here's something to consider. This obelisk sits outside of Luxor Temple. It sits on top of a red quartzite base. See how deep those are? Red quartzite is harder than granite. They carved both those with a rock. I'm not kidding, that's the story. Back to Poland. The reason why I brought Egypt up is because in World War II, they discovered these passage mounds in Poland. After excavating them, they discovered that they have megalithic foundations. I have some theories on this. Most of them include using vibration, which is carved all over Egypt. I cover all this in excruciating detail in Unfiltered Egypt. I do not post those here due to the platform's limitations. To me, these are in the same category as the paper-thin vases that are extremely precise from Egypt as well. There are more anomalies than explanations. If you want my take on this stuff, this is my research. I even got a little video guy for you and then how to read ancient art like science. That's where you find it, or always on this website. All proceeds.
Didn't really understand that one. Anyone?
I see that video the other day, actually.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
All they're hinting at is that there was potentially a technology here before we're told there was. You know, we're led to believe that everything was on, a chisel and a hammer, to create these megaliths and stuff. When in fact it would be quite easily explained if there was an ancient technology, maybe like what we know now as like a laser technology of some sort, that just was easily to be able to just 3D print these things in any type of material, whether it be a red rock or granite or whatever. There's megaliths around the world that have got these massive imprints that are hard to explain.
The ones in Machu Picchu, Peru, yeah, those rocks are like you couldn't get a credit card through the gaps in these random rocks that are cut all different weird shapes. But like, there's no fucking way that I don't care how long ago it was, that anybody was sitting there saying, right, spend the next your job for your entire life is to sit there and get some sandpaper or whatever they got and then just rub it down. Right? There's no chance of that. Like there had to have been a technology that was here that was responsible for the way that they cut those stones.
Yeah, Adam Cahill in the comments. He's spot on.
That we have now.
Though I was watching multiple shows of actually scientists doing experiments. So theory is it is sound waves. So and we see it in Peru, we see it Easter Islands in Egypt. Some of the vases that they found, they're so precise. They're like 1/1000th of a human hair. It's, even right now, you wouldn't be able to replicate out of granite and make the vases that precise. So there was a technology, not just in Egypt, but across the world. And the question is whether, people thinking, sound waves or something else, but whether it's granite or some other rock that is so hard that even now with the modern tools, you wouldn't be able to do the work that they did before. And the funny thing is, when the Aztecs in Peru, when their stuff was discovered, right now, if you go ask the descendants, they said they found when Aztecs came, when Maya came, they found those ruins before they came, and they built on top of it. So whatever they built is very primitive. It's like mud bricks. But the good stuff, the precise stuff, is way, way older than Mayas or Aztecs. Same thing in Egypt. The oldest pyramids are the best ones. The newer ones are crap. Those vases are way before even the pyramids. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it undermines basically his story. It undermines the history we've been told. So if they admit that there was a civilization that was so advanced it can do things that we can't do now, it will open a can of worms of questions. So they have to continue with the narrative that we were primitive. We only had these, you know, a wheel was only invented at a certain date, and a tool was only invented in the 1800s, and you know, a power tool was only invented in the early 1900s. It just undermines the idea that we are the most advanced civilization that has ever been on this earth. And in fact, they were just admitted that actually, you know what, there was someone here before. But then that would then open a can of worms about, well, where did these people go? What happened to the technology? What happened to the suppression of this information? You know,
it just like all that mud
wiped out by the
mud.
It's under all the mud,
mate. If they were that fucking smart, you think they'd be able to dig out a bit of mud, wouldn't they? Come on now, they've got fucking lasers or sound waves that can chisel granite out of stone or whatever, but they can't get themselves out of 6 feet of mud, Adam. Come on, what are we doing here, mate?
But like right now, look, if the Yellowstone volcano erupts or an asteroid hits us, right? So imagine our technology, our civilization, in 10,000 years, 20,000 years, nothing will be left of us, right? All the digital stuff, like all the hard drives, everything is going to be gone. So let's say there was a new civilization trying to figure out who we were. There would be nothing left of our technology, of anything. Just so same thing probably happened in the past. So the only thing that's left are the stone structures. Everything else is gone. So the fact that the scientists can find answers is normal, because again, if you play it out, same thing would happen to us. 100,000 years, everything would be gone about us, and nobody would know we even existed.
Yeah. So why? But why do they push the narrative then that we evolved from monkeys?
Because it's science, right? They go by evidence.
But where's the if the evidence is that it came from monkeys, then so then they're denying the fact that there was no second civilization before this one, or third civilization before that one, right? Because for all we know, there's been people or things that have been on this planet, you know, 1 million years ago that got wiped out. Like when the dinosaurs were around, it wasn't just dinosaurs. Maybe there was humans or some version of us as well before then. We wiped out, we started again. Then another asteroid came, wiped us out, started again. And I agree with you about all of the kind of evidence of it, the detail would be gone apart from stone structures. Completely agree with that. But the idea that we came from monkeys suggests that human beings, like, this is the most advanced that we've been. But that flies in the face of a previous civilization that was capable of doing other things than we, because monkeys couldn't have done it, could they?
Yeah. Well,
unless we're sitting there suggesting that monkeys had power tools, and if so, that's a documentary that I want to watch.
Wait, that's what you should have titled the show: Monkeys with Power Tools.
Monkeys with the Black and Decker. You know.
There has allegedly been, from what the research has been done, 6 or 7 resets. So different types of resets under different pretexts, whether one be water, which is a biblical one known as Noah, whether it be a mud flood, whether it be a fire flood, whether it be an ice age or whatever. There's been 6 or 7 resets that are acknowledged in, recorded, documented history. But the only things that tend to stand...
Yeah, are we suggesting that the pyramids are from the previous one, or could the pyramids have been from the civilization before that?
They're probably from one of the previous ones, I think, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't even think
maybe they've been around for 1 million years, because you can't carbon date a stone.
You can, actually.
You can.
How come they don't know how old the pyramids are?
Because if they say how old they are, it undermines what they've told us as being history.
I don't think you can carbon date stone.
So there was that Y Files, the podcast. So there was a guy from Expedition Unknown. He had a show on History Channel. He is a PhD. So he specializes in carbon dating stone and concrete. And he did a lot of work like in Israel with different artifacts. So he says, in fact, they could do it, but there's a lot of opposition in Egypt, especially because the Egyptologists, there's a certain worldview, and they're very opposed to a different narrative. So We do have technology that can do it, but
so they do know how old the pyramids are. Then they're just not telling us.
They do. But the power families that we've discussed before, they own academia. So the problem is like the people that run these universities, these science labs, these.
No, I know. I understand that point, but I'm just saying, like, surely someone that's not bought and paid for, like, I don't know, a Weinstein or who's the geezer who wrote Fingerprints of the Gods? What's his name?
Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock, right? Surely someone like he would come out and say, why are we speculating about the age of the pyramids or the age of Machu Picchu? Like, we can just go and carbon date it.
I don't think
that because they're sitting there right now and they sit there and say, well, because of Robert Schoch, that the guy from Boston University that's now dead, that he suggested that the water erosion at the bottom of the Sphinx suggested that that erosion could only come from water, but if it was rainwater, it would have to be in a tropical climate, and Egypt hasn't been like that for thousands of years. And so it's either from a flood or if it's from something else. But also when you look at the way that the pyramids are built and the alignment towards the star systems, it suggests that actually that it was built during a time when it was pointing towards a different equinox than it currently is. And so they therefore are suggesting that the pyramids are like 10,000 years older than the Egyptologists will have you believe. But that doesn't even mean that it has to be 10,000 years. It might be the previous equinox that measured that looked that way, which might be 30,000 years before, or it might be 60,000 years before, or it might be 90,000 years before. But they would know that if what you're saying is true, that they can carbon date the stones on the pyramid, but they can't. I'm
concrete,
sure they can't.
I know. Stones, I'm not sure. I know that he could do concrete. I don't know about stone.
Yeah, well, if we agree, if we can just sort of assume that the information they found is that 6 or 7 civilizations of what have been destroyed and reset, then you can kind of work out a timeline that say, okay, so let's say 1800s was a reset. Let's say the 1,000 years reign of Christ was the one before that. You can probably work back that there probably has only been 20, 30, maybe 40, 50,000 years. You can't go back millions, like millions doesn't make sense.
No, but they found recently a discovery that suggests that they're putting back the age of intelligent life back to, is it another 500,000 years or something? They've seen something. Not half 500,000 years. They basically found something similar to Göbekli Tepe somewhere else. And they found some sort of civilized buried structures that suggest that, and they can carbon date things within that suggest that there's obviously organized civilization, not necessarily clever ones, not necessarily advanced ones, but organized enough to be able to build structures as far back as 500,000 years ago, which basically resets everything. It was like, before then it was 250,000 years ago is the oldest organized structure, and now it's 500,000 years. So like
it's impossible to know.
Every fucking day they're coming out with a new bullshit story.
But it's impossible to know, right? Like, if you just go through a thought exercise, if something was possible 100,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, 500 years ago, why wasn't it possible 1,000,000 years ago? We just don't know. We'll never find out, probably, because there's no record.
10 million years ago, possible, right? Like,
well, exactly. Nobody knows.
In terms of the age of the Earth, it's relatively, like, the age of the Earth is what, like 12 billion years old or something silly, right? According to the mainstream, but they're just saying that it took that long and then it went single cell organisms and blah 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 blah. But that's the point I'm making, that the narrative is we went from single cell to multiple cells to fucking fish to amphibians, then we got out of the water, then there was dinosaurs, then they all got blown up, and then we went to monkeys and all that stuff, and then now we are where we are. But to me, it's a load of fucking bollocks. I believe that aliens came here and played around with the gene pool, personally.
So do you not think that we could have come up with them technologies? Do you think it has to be from a different planet or whatever?
No, we did. But we did. Sean's point is that our DNA, and actually when they're looking at the DNA right now, they could see that there was some splicing going on, that based on the DNA, it wasn't natural evolution, a jump from a primate to us. And if you look at every other species on Earth, we're the ones who are not, like, we get sunburn, we have no hair, like, on our faces, like, we're not native to the planet. So there was definitely some manipulation. Huh?
Why are there still monkeys?
Why are the monkeys humans?
Well, they took the primates and they edited their DNA
Yeah.
for us to make a leap. Whether it accelerated the leap or whether it was a different branch, we'll never know, right? Maybe the monkeys would become us in 5 million years. Nobody knows.
And don't tell me there was no dragons. Like,
oh, for sure.
If
But
there,
something
if, there
was
were,
done,
if
definitely.
there were no fucking dragons, then why is there in every law, every single, not law, L-A-W, law, L-O-R-E,
Yeah,
why
dragons.
every single civilization has some sort of representation of dragons, you know? And also St. George, right? He's the only saint in the home nations that doesn't get celebrated. Like St. George's Day was a couple of days ago. You never fucking know it. You never know it. They don't talk about it on ITV or on GB News or any of that. They don't talk about it. St. Patrick's Day, it's all over the place. They dye the Thames green. America celebrates it. Everyone goes down the pub. St. Andrew's Day is a public holiday in Scotland. St. David's Day, they get out the fucking whatever they do in Wales. England, St. George. And I don't believe it's just down to the kind of racist connotations of the flag of St. George. I believe it's because the powers that be know that St. George killed their dragon. Because the powers, the real...
Sean is 100% right. Because the more that legacy lives on about a dragon being in folklore, the longer that is idealized and that is recognized, the memory of a dragon existing in some sort of way or shape or form or mythology, it lasts. But the more they minimalize it, the quicker over generations the griffins or the dragons that they don't exist anymore.
They want it out there because they don't want the public to know that the powers that be, the 13 bloodlines, right? They one of their dads back in their family history was a fucking dragon from Sirius A.
So are you saying that they killed the Rothschilds' dragon? Is that the issue?
I'm saying yes. Saint George was one of us. And he had a fight with a fucking dragon, and he won. And the powers that be that still exist today, all of the royal families of this world, all those reptilians, they don't want little old me and you, Eugene, knowing that if we pick up a sword, we can beat them up. We can win a fight. So they don't want us knowing about the St. George slayed the dragon. They don't want to know it. They want us to forget. Never fucking forget. Never forget. It's like Arsenal killed our parrot. We killed their dragon. Fuck them.
And this is why they invented the story of dinosaurs. So when people started finding dragons and griffin bones, let me hear me out. When they started to find these remnants of these griffins and these dragons, it was passed off as a dinosaur. And the story of dinosaurs was invented by a Freemason to pass off as what people were finding. So when people were finding these things, they were easily explained by millions of years ago, an ice age come around, and all of a sudden these things didn't exist anymore, and this is what you find. But it was just a way that at the time, without the freedom of information and the internet, you wasn't able to cross-reference what people were saying. But unfortunately, they've just outlawed the history of dragons and griffins and replaced it with something else less threatening that isn't so important. Dragons existed, griffins existed, dinosaurs didn't.
But why are they mutually exclusive? I mean, a dragon could be just a dinosaur, right? It could be like a pterodactyl. I mean,
it has some sort of more symbolic meaning than that. The dragons
they're making out like the dragon, like the official dragons, the dinosaurs, the pterodactyls, that they died off millions of years ago. Well, where was St. George? St. George wasn't around back then. St. George was around more recent than that. Yeah. St. George was around the same time as Nikos was suggesting the Tartarian flood happened.
He was a Tartarian.
That's it. St. George, they said he killed him with the sword. Maybe like he had a little slice of his throat with the sword, but actually it was the mud that was coming through very quickly, and the dragon drowned in a mud bath.
Exactly.
It is true. There's more evidence of griffins and dragons than there are of dinosaurs.
Oh, there you go.
We're all end up like the fucking method of a fucking Breaking Bad, digging a fucking hole, wouldn't we?
If you walk through the city of London, Sean, how many griffins, dragons on emblems, statues do you see?
The city is literally protected by the dragons.
Yeah. Bank Station's got one. You go through City of London, all over the place, mate. All over the place. They're on flags, they're on country emblems, but there's no dinosaurs.
They're obsessed with it.
You don't see a T-Rex erected outside of Cannon Street Station.
Yeah, there you go. Look at these fucking dragons.
Look at these dragons.
Look at
them. But just again, whoever writes the history.
Look at these things all over City London. They are all over them.
All over the place. All over the place.
The dragons protect the City London. Look at
They're
the
all
fucking
modded.
state. Look at the state of that dragon. He's got red fucking eyes.
Like,
Angry
is it,
little shit as well. Angry little fucker he is.
What's the other one? Tower? Is it Tower Mount? Tower Mount? Is it? Is it a station? Tower?
Temple.
Temple Mount. Temple Mount. There's one.
Temple Mount. Temple Mount.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at
Temple
these
Mount. There's one.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Everywhere. And they're look at them. They've got their foot over the St. George's Cross, right, which is part of the Freemasons. So the City of London will have you believe that the dragon beat up St. George, but it wasn't like that.
What about the leprechauns? Show the statue of the leprechaun.
There's a statue of
No dinosaurs. There's no statues of dinosaurs.
I mean, I was in London, the Natural History Museum. I saw a dinosaur.
Yeah, well, that's free to go in.
Yeah,
it's like free interpretation.
There you go. See, they
Where?
existed too.
They might have
There's no
existed.
article.
They might have existed. I'm not saying they didn't. I don't know. I've looked into that one. I think I was going to do some research on the leprechaun story. Oh, we
The
doing
magical
it? What are we doing?
creatures that are leprechauns.
Yeah.
I'm not against the leprechauns. I'm against the dinosaurs. I'm not against the leprechauns.
I got no beef with the leprechauns, to be honest.
Nah,
They're funny.
Because in Alaska, they're finding dinosaur bones by hundreds.
In Alaska, come on.
No, dude, this guy has warehouses and warehouses of bones.
How
of
do
mammoth
we know what
bones.
griffins or dragons?
What do you mean? No, they're mammoths. Mammoth bones, dinosaur bones in Alaska.
Yeah, but what's happened is like you was right what you said a minute ago about how they've changed the DNA, because we used to live a lot longer and we used to be a lot bigger. Story of giants, through fables and stuff like that. It was the same with animals. Animals were bigger. So these could be just big elephants with tusks, like they could be huge mammoths that are just explainable as some sort of type of creature, some sort of type of animal that they're finding. It doesn't mean
the
that,
DNA, so they can link the DNA to like the mammoth. They can actually recreate a mammoth right now in the lab.
Yeah, but they, like you said, recreating it. You use an imagination that you can't draw a picture off of a bit of a blood sample. I can't take a blood sample from you and recreate a Eugene.
Yeah, well, if you take the bones, right, they can take the bones and recreate.
Yeah,
that's what the pathologists do, right? Well, like on the murder scene.
They cut down the trees, so there was less oxygen available. So animals, plants didn't get as big as they used to. So this is why they tampered with the DNA. They reduced the amount of oxygen that we're exposed to, which meant that everything was smaller, everything was weaker. But if you get an abundance of
let me ask
oxygen,
this about the giants, though, Nikos, right? In the book of Enoch in the Bible, it says the sons of God lay with the daughters of men, right? So the giants, the Nephilim or whatever, they were fucking the good-looking chicks, yeah. Were the good-looking chicks? First of all, two problems with that story. First of all, were the good-looking chicks at the time like good-looking chicks like we look at now, or were they just monkeys?
I mean, I think you've answered both questions. But
Second question. How the fuck is a giant with a 12-foot fucking cock going to be able to lay with a normal 6-foot, 5-foot, 10-inch bird? How's that going to work?
Well, again, like I just said, quite easily explainable is the women and the men and the animals and the plants were all bigger back then. So you're assuming
the giants were the giants. The giants were the giants, right?
Let me answer the question. You're assuming that a 12-foot cock is fitting into a woman that you know that you've met down the street on a Friday night. What if the women were bigger then than they are now?
No, well, but the giants
I've met a few big women on a Friday night. Let me ask.
I bet you have.
Hey, all right. No. But the giants, they were named giants because they were big in comparison to everybody else, right? So it's not the giants, it's not their name, it's the comparison to everybody else. But the giants are real. Like Smithsonian was hiding giants in America. They found 12-foot people. So that's a real thing. So everything was bigger.
I think the men and women were bigger, naturally bigger back then anyway. I don't think they was all like 5 foot tall. I think that was all.
No, but they were relative. Well, actually,
but they found the midgets in the what do you call those? Florences on that island. They found the hobbits. So they were like 4 feet. So not everyone was bigger.
If you go back 100 years, the average height of a man 100 years ago in World War I was like 5'6".
No, even less, like 5'4" or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because nutrients, like there was no nutrients, there was no like, yeah, for sure.
You want to see the oldest, like I've seen near Glasgow Green, I've seen the oldest house in Scotland, and the front door virtually comes up to my waist.
Because it's in the mud.
Really?
There will be, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they also have like churches with like doors that are fucking like 15 foot tall, 20 foot
Here
tall.
in Spain, a lot of the doorways. Again, if you've ever been out to Spain, especially in like cities like Barcelona and stuff, they have these huge, big archways, and they've always kept the doors the same size. And these doors are like 12 foot tall doors, and they say
the door is under the mud.
But it's architectural. Like, for example, in America, if you look at the pictures, like the Civil War,
they say it's for horses. They say that people used to arrive in their houses. They used to park their horses inside their front door, so the horses used to have to get through the front
Horses aren't that big.
door. No, that's why the doors are 12 foot tall. Apparently, the arches are 12 foot tall. Yeah.
Show me a fucking 12-foot horse.
Well, I'm assuming someone's riding a horse into the house. You don't just climb the horse.
Clever.
I think it's more easily explainable that people were bigger. I think, and they haven't gone round the whole bullshit of replacing all the archways and doorways of all the houses and
no, but look,
churches or whatever.
The Americans, right? They're big, but like if you look at the pictures of the Civil War when they were looking at them, all of them average height was like 5'3".
Yeah.
In the 1800s. So
yeah,
they were all tiny.
No, Adam's fucking 6'3", aren't you, Adam? You're a big lad.
Yeah, pretty tall.
I'm small.
Mate, we've got doors for you over here, mate. We've got doors to get you in here over here. Don't worry. None of these hobbit doors over here, mate. We've got 12-foot doors over here.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them up here, small little doors. You see the old when you go drive around certain areas, you see the old like the little miners' houses. They're always tiny. The doors are always tiny on them.
Yeah. The churches, everything is big, right? That's the whole like to inspire awe. When you walk in, right, you're supposed to like everything is huge. So it's more of an architectural trick than actually, let's make it bigger.
People did put a lot more effort into their fucking architecture back in the day, didn't they?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Blimey. Look at the shit that we see these days.
It's fucking horrible, isn't it? It's horrible.
It's all square.
I genuinely, just to round it off, like I genuinely wouldn't be that like annoyed if World War III did kick off and it escalated to the point where there was going to be some red buttons pushed, because I sort of feel like we're not really doing a very good job of civilization at the moment.
You think?
I agree.
Speak for yourself.
I think we're really fucking.
We're going backwards.
We're massively going backwards. The misery and the anxiety around the world. We don't build anything cool anymore. Everything's like plexiglass and polystyrene rather than like big old fucking solid, like craftsmanship. AI is going to make us all redundant anyway. I mean, at some point you might want to go and learn a hobby, like learn to like do clay, like Ghost, the movie Ghost.
I've been doing that actually. It's funny you said I've been doing that. I've been making myself coffee mugs on a Friday night. Yeah, mate. Really? There's a class. It's €10 for a 2-hour session, all filled with chicks. I'm the only guy there, and I get to sit there and make coffee mugs all night or plates. I'm like, all right. I sit there, that's unlimited wine, €10. Bosh. Friday, Saturday
unlimited wine and unlimited clay.
Unlimited wine, unlimited clay, and I'm the only guy in a group full of 20 women.
Mate, that is fucking brilliant.
It's fucking brilliant.
Is absolutely sensational.
Cheat code.
Do you have, where do you have to go to? Like, do you have to go to like someone? What? And then
it's like a little workshop. Yeah, it's like a little workshop. It's literally like 2 minutes from my house. Literally, I've met loads of women just making coffee mug on a Friday night, getting free wine.
How much would it cost to set up a business that does that? Like to go and get a warehouse somewhere. How many clay spinning pot things have they got?
There's 8 of them. So in a class of 20, there's 8 of them. So you have to take it in turns. So you basically spend most of your night drinking wine with women anyway, and then you wait for a machine to come up, and then you go on with your
over, bro. Where we go? Barcelona, yeah? I'll get a flight right now.
This little town where I live, mate. It's like I scouted around because I was like, I'm getting bored on a Friday and a Sunday night. I want something to do myself. I don't want to be stuck indoors all the time. And like the old traditional stuff of going to a nightclub, buying bottles, doing
how
gear.
Old are the birds?
Mate, middle age. Mate, they're all hot single mums, all of them.
You say middle age? What are we talking about? Like
mate, 40, yeah, like 40 our age, yeah.
No.
You did have
there are a few younger ones, but mate, that is the demographic. I'm telling you, as a middle-aged man, you get a young woman, She didn't upcheat you. You get an old woman, she's past the best. You want a middle-aged woman who knows what she wants, who likes to pound the clay.
No, you don't. You want a 24-year-old who still that's a ta, who you can convince, and like razzmatazz. And anyway, let's get up the topic. That's for a different.
Anyway,
show.
clay classes. Find some clay classes in a local neighborhood.
I'm do that. That would be so much fucking fun. I'm definitely going to go and see it as one of those local guys. Listen, we've been going for 2 hours and 34. It's about time. It's a fantastic show. I've really enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it, Adam? Thank you so much for coming on, mate. Where was your bloke, mate? Where's your mate? He let us down.
I know. I'm really disappointed actually because he seemed like he was really up for it. So I don't know. But
They got to him.
There's some subjects we were talking about today because the thing. Do you know what he would be good for? Is the one where you talked about the Satan thing. He's got a big picture behind where he sits in his computer room, and it's a picture of the is it Bao?
Yeah,
he's got a big, massive picture behind him when he's on live, and he knows so much about that subject. I think he'd be right up your street for that show.
No, get him on. Or at least add him to the WhatsApp group or something. Start him off there. We'll win him over. Big up, Jordan. Thank you so much for joining, mate. Always a pleasure, man. Really appreciate you. Usually, you've had a good show. You enjoyed the show, even.
Amazing show, as always.
It's great fun.
My favorite topics. I love it. It was good.
I like the way you managed to get yourself a little quick 5-minute little jab at Nikos's biases towards. I see that. It's lovely. It's lovely.
No. All love. It was a good show.
Of course. Always all love. Always. Nikos, do you have a good show, mate? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, mate. I'm fine. Don't worry. I'm taking notes. There'll be a point in the future, like I said, where we will come back and do the IOUs.
Guys, Stream Elements right there. If Nikos's channel is right there, subscribe to Nikos on YouTube. Tinfoil Transmission. Make sure you go over there and smash the subby for him. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. We've got one more super chat. Big up to Destiny. He says, world at war, but agree on protecting Antarctica. Yeah.
What village are you from, Destiny? Tell us in the comments which village do you live in, so we know.
the little banter and rivalry between Nikos, between Yuji and Destiny is also sweet as. Love you guys.
The only thing they can agree on is Antarctica can't be explored. They can't agree on anything else. They're all bombing each other.
And NASA, they work together on rockets, don't they? They work together on the space station. Well, I'm going to kill like 10,000 of your citizens. I'm going to drop a few like 10 million pound bombs on your. But by the way, any chance you want to come up to the space station with us for a couple of hours?
And by the way, I'll see you at the Antarctic meeting on next June. Yeah, I'll see you at the Antarctic meeting.
Yeah, I'll see you at Antarctica. It's good show. Yeah, good show. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. I'll be back tomorrow morning with some Spurs Talk Show. We'll be back. What day is it today? Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
Thursday now.
Hopefully Friday night, and for another rabbit hole, and we'll do less politics and more wacky conspiracies. I'll go and make sure I go and rebuild out the video content for some crazy stuff. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you on Friday, guys. Appreciate you. Bye. That was fun show.
I say that every time.